Hello there and welcome to Let's Talk Sports live watch along of the Formula One Imola Grand Prix, and of course this is the second race of the 2021 calendar, so we've got a lot to go. We're not even reached chapter 1 yet, I don't think, in this Lord of the Rings book. Sorry, that's the Formula One book, with it being a long season ahead. But of course we're in Italy, and it won't be the last time that we'll visit Italy. Later this year. It will be, of course, Monza in around September time, I think. I can't remember the calendar from the top of my head, but it has normally. But today it's rather eventful because even before the race has started, it's a bit cloudy and there's a bit of rain on that track. Yes, we could potentially be having a wet track today, and after all the hype, for me anyway, as you can see wearing a Mexico shirt, Perez, the poor bloke, is on softs, so all that hype of him trying to get onto Lewis Hamilton at the start with his medium tyres, it could be very interesting this first few laps. I'm with Jack Price. Jack, how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's good. Thank you very much. I was glad to be here. I'm obviously in the, there's a lovely balcony that I can see the whole track from. I'm just behind me. It's a very high balcony. It's a big skyrise building. I'm surprised nobody's seen it yet on any of the TV coverage. But yeah, it's a great view, and I'm excited for this race as well. Like I said, mixed conditions. I think a lot of the teams now are obviously got the wet tyres or the intermediate tyres on. So that whole medium soft tyre compound debate's gone out the window now, because it looks like they're starting on the wet tyres with the mixed conditions. And I have to say, watching qualifying yesterday, I know you did the sort of qualifying watch long. It was great to see the cars at full speed at a track like this. With the very tight sections. Any mistakes, you're on the grass or you're on the gravel. And we saw a few mistakes. Track limits came really into play yesterday for qualifying. It was good to see Lando Norris was so close to getting in that top 3 spot, but obviously track limits, had issues with there. And again, we've got Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso alongside Carlos Sainz as well, under the top 10. So yeah, it'd be a great sort of midfield battle as well. George Russell's in the mix between all them as well. So it's going to be a very interesting race, I think. And obviously Sergio Perez, like you said, starting P2. Can he upset Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton? That's been what the talk's about, Verstappen and Hamilton, in these last couple of weeks since the first race in Bahrain. Can Sergio Perez mix that up? Because as we've seen, Valtteri Bottas is down in 8th place. So team sort of strategy for Mercedes is a bit out the window today. It's all in the court of Red Bull.
I think for me, Red Bull need to win this race, because they need to just remind Mercedes, knocking on that back door, to just say to them, look, we're here to compete as well. And I think Mercedes don't normally have great starts, from what the last few years have taught us when they've been up against Ferrari, which, to be honest, last season they were fighting themselves, Mercedes. Yeah. They had no one to deal with, let's be honest, in terms of the Constructors' Championship or even the Drivers' Championship. So I think for me, Red Bull need to take this opportunity to in the top 3 at the start of a race when you've got Bottas in 8th place, because he went, of course, off the track limits yesterday, so that's why his lap was deleted at the end, and that was the best he could do. So I think we're in for a good race here. It's a track that's not known for much of overtaking, but I do think there's little moments here and there, like turn 15, which I stressed about during qualifying yesterday, saying it seems to catch everyone out at some point. But luckily for them today, they don't have to worry about having to get the fastest lap unless they want that bonus point. Anyway, they're just out starting the formation lap. Of course, me and Jack are watching with different streams, so we're hoping we're nearly in sync around the same time of the race. But I've just seen a couple of people watching over the hills. They've got the best seats in the house.
Be a bit ahead of me.
Whoa! No way!
It's never happened before.
This never happens. I wish my camera was in sync.
We're just about to go on the formation lap now, so it's just hit 3:00 local time, and they're all about to sort of start. Like I said, I can see the people all on the hill. I love this racetrack because the grandstands or the balcony shots from people's houses is absolutely incredible. I mean, what a view! When racing comes along. For the locals at the circuit, it's a great venue, and like I said, it's an old school track with them, no runoff areas, with the grass, with the gravel. You make a mistake like Yuki Tsunoda did yesterday, pushing hard, and you pay the price for it. So I love these types of tracks. What it's going to be like in the race is another story. I think qualifying with racetracks like this is sometimes the best of the weekend, but hopefully, we are with the mixed conditions in for a great race. So it will be interesting to see. Can Perez, can Verstappen, and the likes of them, Leclerc's in the mix as well. Can they stop Lewis Hamilton today? We obviously Lewis Hamilton, is a British driver, but if people have watched these streams before or watched me and Jamie before in Formula One, we're not Hamilton haters. We don't want to get that out there. We just don't want him to run away with the championship, especially so early on into the season. So
it's no different. It's no different to Schumacher and the Vettel era, is it? Really? You see it a few times. I just saw. Oh. And this isn't before we started.
Oh, God. Well, we saw Fernando Alonso had to change his wing as well.
Yes, we did. I forgot about that.
Vettel starting from the pit lane, I think, with brake issues. So that's another thing in the mix. So everything's happening.
And the race hasn't even started. Do get in touch on our live chat page, folks. Let us know who you think will win the Imola Grand Prix today. They're just about to park up on the grid after the formation lap, a dramatic formation lap before the opening race. Absolutely splendid. Now, the one thing I need to add is our leaderboard. I haven't put that up yet, so apologies, folks. Let me...
It's a good job you're not doing it manually, because I think a lot of changes might happen with these mixed conditions today.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine?
You'd have your hands full.
So Vettel starting from the pits.
I think actually that's a good tactical decision by Vettel, because if there's a massive pile-up at the beginning, it might be better to start from the pit lane. Any incidents at turn 1, he's not in there.
Now, of course, there are 63 laps, so I must change that. Anyway, the lights are out, and here we go. So Lewis Hamilton up against Perez, and Verstappen's going right behind him. And I think it's Perez who's overtaken. What a move that is! Both Red Bulls on the side of Hamilton, and I'm trying to figure out which Red Bull it is. Oh, Hamilton! Oh, he nearly went off the track. He went off the track and nearly collided. Now, what happened there? But Hamilton now into second after starting the race in pole position. Jack Price, what the hell happened there?
I have no idea. My race hasn't started yet. Okay,
No!
That's how far behind I am.
Do you want me to send you that link?
I don't know how you've done. I don't know how you've gone so far ahead.
But it's...
Yeah, that's tight wheel to wheel.
There is team radio.
That won't have done his floor any good. That won't have done his floor any good for Lewis Hamilton.
No.
Did that.
I must admit, I'm surprised he's still going.
Yeah.
I thought for a moment that car was absolutely knackered already.
Yeah, he's gone over 3 sort of high bollards there, or like sausage curbs, or whatever they're called in terms of the racetrack. So that won't have done his floor any good at all. And obviously we know with these high rake systems, or what they've got on board underneath the cars, they actually do help a lot in terms of aerodynamics. So if he had any damage to that floor, that could be costly for Hamilton.
Absolutely. Wow, what a start to the race. We had a feeling there's been a yellow flag for sectors 2 and 3. And actually I think it was one of the Alpines that went off the track. Yeah, oh no, it's a Williams. Oh, it's not George Russell, is it? Oh, it's Nicholas Latifi. So Nicholas Latifi already out, the first one out of today's race. And that's a shame, Jack, because Latifi and Russell got into Q2 yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen he span out a bit. Oh, the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz went wide as well there. I don't know if Latifi's gone out again. He had a bit of an issue at the but managed to recover it. Let's see if I've got it now. There's another double waved yellows in sector 2 and 3, so I'll have a look and keep an eye on it in a minute. Oh, and yeah, there is Nicholas Latifi. That is shown. Interestingly, it looks a bit like. Do you remember George Russell at Imola last year when they were under the safety car and he was doing that restarts? It looks a bit like that. I think it's just down that same hill. Obviously, the different side of the track, but George Russell had sort of the same issue with the Williams last year. But yeah, very disappointing for Nicholas Latifi, because you're right in saying that both of them look really good. Latifi actually, he collided there with a Haas. Who was that? Was that Mazepin? That wouldn't surprise me. It looks like one of the Haas's. I don't think it was Mick Schumacher. I have to see that replay again. But yeah, it just collides with them. But yeah, going back to Latifi and Russell, Williams looked good yesterday in qualifying. Latifi was really pushing George Russell. So yeah, a bit of a shame for the Williams guys that Latifi's already out on lap 2. But yeah, Jamie, if you can send me that link, that'd be great, because
yeah.
I can catch up on it.
Actually, it's a good plug-in, because if anyone wants to watch the race, the link is in the live chat page. So I'll ask Jack to do it there. It's on the live chat page if people are wondering how to watch the race. This is the link I'm using as well. So yeah, Latifi gone. And of course, with that, we have got the safety car out. So they're showing the start of the race again here as a replay. And at the start, Lewis Hamilton getting caught by Verstappen, it seemed. And then he got onto Hamilton. And then, you had 2 Red Bulls at one moment, side by side with Hamilton. But Perez backed off onto that first corner. And I think he made a wise move there, Perez. I think he was a little concerned that he could end up in an accident. But Verstappen, what a move. What a move. And this is what we haven't seen in Hamilton's era of dominance, which, don't get me wrong, it's in the history books. That's all that matters. But you want to see some sort of overtaken at the front, and we haven't seen this in a long time. I think the last time we had this was Nico Rosberg. And, you know, of course, there was no love lost there between the two at their time at Mercedes. How's Jack doing with the stream?
Yeah, it's not loading up for me.
It sometimes does a few pop-ups and then it will start for you. As in, you have to click play like 3 or 4 times and then the pop-up will come, then get rid of it. So, currently, Max Verstappen, top of the tree. Lewis Hamilton second, Charles Leclerc third, Sergio Perez fourth. I didn't see that, but Leclerc did overtake Perez. So, Perez missing out on the podiums at the moment, but of course, a lot of laps to go. Daniel Ricciardo is 5th, Pierre Gasly 6th, Lance Stroll 7th. Carlos Sainz has gone up by 3 spaces along with Lance Stroll, and he's in 8th. Lando Norris 9th. And Valtteri Bottas 10th, who's gone down by 2 places, which doesn't look good for Mercedes, especially when their man Lewis Hamilton is not top of the leaderboard at the moment. Do get in touch on the live chat page, folks. Let us know who you think's going to win the race. And Nikita Mazepin, it's his fault.
In terms of Latifi?
I think it is, yeah. Wheel to wheel. That's a real shame. Mazepin, of course, I'm sure Mazepin's able to race on. He's currently 18th. Ocon 19th. But yeah, I think we saw Ocon go off the track at one point.
Well, Nicholas Latifi looks in front of me when that happens.
Yeah, he is.
Why is he out so what? Oh, I don't know. Martin Brundle's blaming Latifi there, but I think that ultimately, yeah, I think Mazepin's got to sort of hold off there. I know it wasn't yellow flagged yet, although I don't know if it still was for Latifi spin the corner before. I don't know if the yellow flags were still there. If that was the case, then Mazepin shouldn't really be trying to get past him, as it were, or be in that position. So yeah, that's interesting. I'm not too sure about that. Good to see the red safety car out, though, of the new Mercedes for this year.
Yeah, they'll ask him, how's Bahrain? Yeah, I was a bit bored. Wasn't like Grosjean. One of the Aston Martins has gone into the pits now because they're still behind the safety car now. Oh, dear. Oh, it's not him again. No. Oh, it's Mick Schumacher. Oh, he's lost the front wing. How's that happened? We're on lap 4 and everything's happening here today, folks. Let me change the lap count. I forgot to change that as well. There we go. Lap 4 out of 63, and this is one hell of a race, and we've hardly touched it. How's the stream going, Jack?
Yeah, it's not loading for me, so I've gone back to the old Sky Go. So I still might be a little bit behind. So yeah. Oh yeah, I've just seen Mick Schumacher. So I'm about what am I about 30, 40 seconds, but it's okay.
Probably, yeah.
Oh dear. It just, for some reason, it just seems to be that Haas car this year. I know they're 2 young drivers, and I know obviously they've still got to get used to Formula One, but that Haas car looks very difficult for them to control this year. And the fact that they're not making any upgrades for it, it's going to be a long season, and a lot of parts are going to be wasted. A lot of millions on all the parts that Haas are going to have to throw into this is going to be, difficult. So yeah, it's going to be a hard season, I think, for the 2 young drivers.
Yeah, I think this is the problem. I was saying this last night after the qualifying in our reaction show, straight after the qualifying on the stream, which was yesterday, and I was worried for Haas just because you could do with some experience in the team when you're going to have a really very tough season, it seems.
Yeah.
Ooh. If you've just joined us, folks, where have you been? It's been one hell of a Grand Prix so far. So Verstappen at the top. Of course, there's a safety car at the moment. Only 5 laps in. Do get in touch on our live chat page. Of course, actually, Jack, while we wait for them to restart, we found out the Miami Grand Prix is finally going to happen. I must admit, I thought it was a pipe dream at one point because nothing was going on.
Yeah, it's taken a while for them to get that deal across the line. There's been talks about a second race in the US. Obviously, there was that one about the New Jersey, wasn't there? Just with the New York in the background when Bernie Ecclestone was still around, there was talk of that would be a second US Grand Prix. But yeah, then the Miami talks came through, and I think it actually will be a good racetrack. I think it's going to be one of them, another sort of street circuit, a little bit like Baku. And maybe Singapore, with obviously, it's going to be more of like a street circuit. But I think it will be good. I think the US is starting to get into the Formula One culture, as it were, starting to watch Formula One more. So I think it's a good thing for the sport to be moving about. But obviously, Stefano Domenicali said there's other countries that also want the F1 races. So it's good that they're still pulling in countries. South Africa's another one that they're discussing about bringing it back to.
Yeah, that's been discussed for a while, hasn't it? I think even Bernie tried to get that back.
Yeah.
No, it's good to see. So, in case you're wondering,
Red Bull just run wide as in the
Perez. Oh, Perez.
Perez.
Yeah. Oh, what are you doing, man?
Oh, in the safety car, it must be funny if someone spins out, the rest have got to wait for him to overtake again.
It must be so awkward, especially if you're race control. You just think you had one job. You had one job. Pit lane entry is open, according to race control.
Oh, let us know if anybody goes into the pits. I think they'll all just be waiting there, to be honest.
I wonder if Perez will, because of the grip. He lost grip, didn't he?
There was that bite on it, wasn't it, when it ended in the corner?
Poor Mick Schumacher's had to drive around the circuit like twice just to keep the car going and wait to go in. Yeah. Which actually, Apple Core says here, Mick has to go around again because pit lane is closed.
Good shout, Mick. It's a good shout there, Apple Core. I didn't realise that. I forgot. Yeah, no, like you said, pit lane entry is open now. So yeah, that is depressing. The only good thing is it is a safety car, so hopefully when he gets the front wing back on, he should be able to catch the pack up before the safety car goes back in. So
and he's just gone in now.
Hopefully he'll be able to catch the field back up again.
Yeah, he's just gone in now. He's been waiting ages. It's like a guy limping to the hospital. It's like, I'm gonna get there. We've got over 100 of you watching the watch along, so thank you very much. And we're just one away from 730 subscribers, so thank you all for the support. Do click that subscribe button. It's free, so you don't have to worry about any costs. So they're putting the front wing in now.
Safety car's ending.
Yeah, I know.
What I said about Schumacher. Forget what I said.
This is the worst time for him, but he was bottom anyway.
I was hoping he'd catch the field back up before they decided to bring the safety car in. I don't know if he'll get round in time.
Let's look at the leaderboard then as I scroll through here. So, George Russell 11th, Kimi Raikkonen 12th, Antonio Giovinazzi is 13th, Tsunoda 14th, Fernando Alonso is 15th, Mazepin, who collided with the Tifi, he's still going at 16th. Esteban Ocon's gone down 8 places, but he did go off the track before the safety car came out, so that's the reason why he's lost a few positions. Sebastian Vettel, Jack, 5 places down already, 18th. I know he went in for the pits just before, but I just feel Vettel's I know it's early days, but I just feel like it could be a long year for him.
Well, I think actually it says down 5 places, but he actually started from the pit lane, so he's actually worked his way up.
Oh yeah.
So he started from the pit lane, and I think he's gone back in the pits again. So I'll let him off that he's still down in 18th place. But yeah, I mean, it's not been a sort of great start. Obviously, both cars look like they had rear brake issues, but it looks like the safety car's ending. So I'll let you see if you can restart the race now to see what happens, because I might be a bit behind.
Yeah. So here we go. Then there's water spray everywhere from all the cars. Charles Leclerc in behind Hamilton and Verstappen at the moment as they approach turn 7. And Verstappen, he seems to be getting further away again. He's only 0.6 of a second ahead of Hamilton, but that car looks good for Imola, Red Bull, from what we've seen in practice. Now Hamilton second, Charles Leclerc third, Perez fourth at the moment. Perez will be probably a bit gutted with the way it's gone. Darren Chua says, haha, made it to 730. Thank you, Darren.
Thanks, Darren.
Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And Apple Core has said, if Mick can't catch up, I bet he'll get lapped on lap 11. That is not what you want, is it?
I mean, the only thing is that so much has been happening in this race. We could have another incident where the safety car comes straight back out again. So I think it'd be the case where most of the cars will be keeping quite close to each other in this race if safety cars continue, because they'll just keep bunching the pack up again.
So it looks as though Charles Leclerc could approach. Oh my God, Verstappen's 3.2 seconds ahead. Where's that come from?
Is there floor damage on that Mercedes?
I think there is. I think that's a good point, Jack. I think there is. Because there was a massive incident with him and Verstappen at the start, which I honestly thought, when you see a big part come from the floor, yeah, he's being overtaken. Oh, no, sorry, wrong driver. I was getting mixed up there. Oh, there's a bit. Oh, the AlphaTauri's. The McLaren and the AlphaTauri. How did the AlphaTauri get out of that? It was one of those, Jack, where you see them go in the fog and you don't know what's going to happen. You think the AlphaTauri's going to get blown up. Comes out leading. You go, what the hell? I can't believe what I just saw. Joel Mitchell has got in touch on our live chat page. Hello, Joel. He says, what is happening? I didn't watch the start. Where have you been, Joel? Where have you been?
What's going on?
It's been crazy. So what happened, Joel? Basically, in the first two corners, Verstappen and Hamilton collided as Verstappen took over him. And as Jack has already mentioned, Hamilton had a bit of floor damage. And because of that, that is why Verstappen is in the lead. And we've had a couple of cars out already. We've had the Tiffy out. And actually, that's all we've had, haven't we?
Yeah.
I keep thinking we've had more, but no, Mick Schumacher lost his front wing when they were on the safety car as well. So
they have noted that incident between Verstappen and Hamilton at turn 2 on the first lap. I'm not sure why. It's just sort of a first lap. It's just a first lap incident. There shouldn't be any more looking into that than just noting it. Surely they shouldn't have more investigation on that. It's not needed.
Yeah, exactly.
That would just ruin the race, wouldn't it? I mean, come on.
It really would.
Ooh, good battling between Ferrari, AlphaTauri, and McLaren in that battle with Lando Norris, and yeah, that was a good little battle for them three cars then as they went across the pit straight.
Verstappen's got fastest lap. Of course, that could change a lot, but who knows? It's tricky in these conditions, Jack, to get that last lap fastest lap, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we were also seeing. Valtteri Bottas hasn't been able to get anywhere. He's gone down to 10th position now, and that Mercedes, we always say this during the season, but the Mercedes just struggles when it's in behind other cars. It's not got that great sort of aero system, and obviously there's been talk with the changes this year in terms of better for cars with a higher rake system. Mercedes don't have that this year, so Bottas may struggle to get past these drivers unless there's any incidents that take place.
We've got Carlos Sainz. He's done well there. It's a nice clean overtake on Pierre Gasly to go 7th. Sainz didn't have a great qualifying yesterday. He didn't make it into Q3. Well, Charles Leclerc did a lot better by being in the top 5, and Carlos Sainz didn't make it into Q3, which, again, it's so easy to criticise because, this is a new car, a new team for him. It's no different to like Perez, for example. Verstappen's got another fastest lap. This time it's a 1.30.9 seconds. Oh, and Perez saying the steering wheel is moving by itself. Oh, dear.
Does he not need to drive it then? Does he just let go?
I'm sure there's a word for that. Cheating. Not that I'd say that. Here I am wearing a Mexican shirt, and I'm saying that about Perez. I'm only joking.
I mean, to be honest, it's not good. I'm seeing on the dials now. I know that, obviously with the wet conditions, but from what I can see on the dials, Perez is almost 8 seconds away from his teammate at the minute.
He is. And I just wonder if he's had any damage to the car, or But we didn't see any moments for Perez. If anything, he had a clean.
No, I haven't seen any issues with Perez yet. But I mean, he went wide, didn't he, onto the gravel a little bit. Had that little snap of oversteer, but I mean, that shouldn't have affected the car too much.
Oh, we're at 737 subscribers. Thank you very much, folks. Really appreciate that. We'd love to get to 750 before the end of the race. Gasly, well, the green flag is out, so that means the track is clear, and we've reached 10 laps.
Well, no investigation necessary for that turn 2 incident. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, I'm actually, funny enough, Apple Core just mentioned it on our live chat page saying, never mind, it's just a note. Thank goodness for that.
The Alpines of Ocon and Alonso, 15th and 16th, they look to be struggling during the race now. I don't know if they're having any issues at the back, but...
Just move my chat page a little bit. There we go.
Oh, Vettel's made a place.
Oh my God! Well, over 150 of you watching us now. Thank you very much. We've got a few questions. Train.f1 guy asking us, Hamilton got damage. Yes, I mean,
looks like it.
Jack will stress it's floor damage.
Carlos Sainz, yeah, he had a bit of a
I've just seen
bit of a trek out onto the gravel, but yeah, it looks like from that turn 2 incident that on the first lap with Max Verstappen, he ran over. It looked to be like 3 of them sausage curbs on turn 2, and he scraped them at full speed. So he must have done at least some damage to the bottom of that car in terms of the floor. And like I said, that does work in terms of aerodynamics. So any issues with the floor, it does play. You do see that in terms of the lap times, in terms of the board and the pace. So yeah, it could be that Hamilton's got some major damage on there. As I see Carlos Sainz running wide, must have wanted to wave to all the fans in their balconies at that corner.
Yeah, there are a few watching locally, which they probably did the same thing last year when we had the Imola Grand Prix, which I can't remember roughly what time of year that was. Actually,
the latter part, was it? Was it around September time?
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, and it was still a little cold then, I think. Of course, in Monza they have it in September time, but the sun normally comes out for that race. Jane Howe says, hello from Australia. Hello, Jane. I'm sure you'll be keeping an eye on Daniel Ricciardo of McLaren. He's currently 5th. He's actually done very well. He's gone ahead of his teammate Lando Norris, who's in 6th. Ricciardo was out-qualified by Norris, let's not forget. So it's looking good for the Australian so far. Oh, Bottas struggling against Gasly. Gasly's giving him a run for his money as they approach turn 4. And there's a stop-go penalty. Who's this for? Oh, no. It's for Perez. No. 10 seconds. What's that for? I'm not sure.
He said, I got like an investigation under the safety car he overtook, but that was only to reclaim his places, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, for overtaking while the safety car is deployed. Oh, dear.
Yeah, wasn't that to take his places back after his incident?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
If anybody else sees that, let us know in the chat. But yeah, I thought that's what that was for. Really? Would you get a penalty for getting back in place? I don't know.
Well, what I don't get is that all the cars slowed up for him as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like he had to It's not like he had to. Okay, race control. Well, they've got the cameras on them in their race control room at the moment. So I don't know what to take of that, because I understand
10 seconds is a lot as well.
That's a lot. I mean, that's ruining the race straight away. I mean, I do think, I'll say this now about F1. Those second penalties are so annoying. You know, they actually do ruin races. It's like a red card in a football match early on, isn't it, Jack? You know, it can ruin the game straight away.
Yeah, that was for him overtaking the cars again to get his place back. I honestly don't.
I don't get that.
Well, that's your place. He's made a mistake, yes, but you shouldn't have give that up, because then Norris and Gasly are clearly overtaking in the safety car.
I'll be very surprised if Christian Horner doesn't knock on the door at the end of the race, wondering what the hell.
I'd be smashing that door down, to be honest. That's a joke, and 10 seconds is huge. I mean, that's crazy.
But it just annoys me, because you saw the McLaren and I can't remember which other car it was. They slowed up for him.
Yeah, Gasly, I think. Yeah, Norris and Gasly.
Yeah.
But it makes me laugh that they've been so like that's a drastic penalty for that incident when they didn't do any track limits for Bahrain last time round. I know we don't want to bring that up again, but
Let's have a look at some of your comments. Oh, at the moment, just before that, Max Verstappen's going to win this race at this rate. He's 128 now at fastest lap. 14 laps in. Which I must remind myself to update the laps. Why have I decided to do it manually? God knows.
Is it not a way of doing it, taking it from somewhere else?
There is, because I did it for the last watch along, but for some reason today I haven't done that. And it's a crowded area.
Look at them two AlphaTauris fighting out.
Yeah, interesting. It's only an early relationship between Tsunoda and Gasly, but Tsunoda's there to. Well, he's ahead of Gasly in 13th.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at some of your comments. Jane says, "Let's hope," in my response about Ricardo. Marius Sava is asking for our top 3 predictions. We didn't reveal that, did we, Jack? I guess it's a bit hard to do it now when the race is going, but I think we can both agree on a Verstappen win at this rate.
Yeah, I think so. I think Hamilton will still get in the top 3, and I expect even with Perez, Perez has got such a big gap now with that 10-second penalty. I mean, it might be the case that Daniel Ricciardo gets on the podium, which Jane will like to hear, but if Perez drops down by 10 seconds, it's Leclerc, Ricciardo and Norris, really, so...
Verstappen's done it again. It's now 127.7 on as a fastest lap. So he's just getting faster and faster at the moment. Verstappen, the track's not been a problem for him. And there's a replay here on Carlos Sainz. What happened here? He's gone off the track
again.
Yeah. Is that him out the race? No, he was in the gravel. No, not the gravel track. He's gone out. He's gone back out onto the track, so he's fine. But I think luckily no one overtook him, and he's still 7th. Oh God, headphones came off. Apple Core says floor damage might be more severe with the new regs. I presume that's regulations. Train.f1 guy says I sub to you. Also, you can call me either Train F1 guy or Louis. Let's call you Louis. I might forget that. I hope I don't. I do apologise if I do. So thank you, Louis. Apple Core says the floor makes about 1/3 of the downforce. It certainly does. That dumb goblin. Verstappen is probably going to be the winner. And that dumb goblin doesn't sound dumb at all with that prediction at the moment. And Joel Mitchell's... I'll ask you this, Jack. Joel Mitchell asking, what is happening to Gasly? He's just gone into the pits now, actually.
Has he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was very tentative between him and Tsunoda on that overtake between the pair of them. So, I mean, it was something that I said on my channel before the previewing the race. I said the underperformers of the last race in Bahrain were AlphaTauri for me and Aston Martin. And I thought, can they bring something else to the table this race round to see if we can see any different? Because AlphaTauri have got a really fast car this year, but Bahrain, they didn't really do much. You know, Gasly had that issues in the first race, and Tsunoda managed to get a couple of points, but it wasn't really where I thought they were going to finish the race on the Sunday. And Aston Martin obviously didn't have a great first weekend as well, and currently Stroll's in 8th on the leaderboard, with Tsunoda 13th. That's the highest for AlphaTauri. Gasly, like he says, just going to the pits. Vettel 14th. It's not great, but I think also looking, you know, both Alpines are fighting for 15th and 16th place. I mean, that's not great for Fernando Alonso, is it?
No. They've not had a good start to the season, Alpine, but is it just typical of Alonso that whichever team he goes to, even if he went to Mercedes next year, he just ain't going to win a race?
Yeah, and what weirdly for all the bosses at Alpine, you know, it's a strange sort of boss order what they've got this year in terms of their management structure. Two managers, as it were. We know that from The Office, co-manager and co-manager doesn't really work very well. But you've actually got the head of Renault's at the race this weekend as well, and he won't be too happy with where they're racing at the minute.
Absolutely. Lewis Hamilton's got fastest lap now, so he's responding, that's for sure, and he's now 4.9 seconds behind Verstappen. We're 17 laps into the race. There's still plenty of racing to go, though, of course. There's It's a 63 race, not 63 race, a 63 lap course. It looks as though Ricciardo's being chased down by Lando Norris, only a 0.8 tenth of a second of the gap at the moment as they come down the straight.
But just it's great to see the two McLarens up there, though, isn't it?
It is. Are we seeing the Ricciardo that we've kind of missed, really, because his Renault days weren't exactly memorable?
No. But I think Lando Norris, although, obviously starting behind him after his track limit issue yesterday for his last lap, Norris has looked a little bit better. I know Ricciardo's come into a new team and Norris has been, embedded in that for the last few seasons. But, Norris has started the season really well. And that qualifying lap, although got deleted with track limits, he looked really good in that McLaren. Looked dialed up, didn't he, for that lap?
Yeah. And now the gap between Norris and Perez is 13 seconds. So there's a bit of a gap between the top four and the rest of the cars, which for Perez, of course, he's got to bear in mind that he's got that 10-second penalty. So if
have they talked about swapping the two McLarens over? Sorry, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if I just heard that radio message to both drivers that Lando might be quicker at this point, so they might consider swapping the two over. It looks like actually Ricciardo's let Norris by.
He has. Interesting.
Not good for Jane, but
Jane, what? Sue McLaren. As a Perez fan, I would love to sue. We've got Apple Core saying overtaking under safety car. Apparently that was with Perez. Connor Porter says you can't do that due to safety reasons. May have exceeded speed limits under safety car to regain position. Not sure. I don't. With all the drivers stopped, I mean, it's not like it was a problem. I mean, we've seen a lot worse come off the track and then still get the positions back without a penalty. So I don't. Yeah. No, I don't get it. I don't get it. I think
that needs explaining after the race, to be honest, because I'm very much of they both slowed down to let him pass. So
it's just. I mean, what I don't get is that when is it a safety problem?
Yeah.
You set these guidelines and all that, and it's like, well, when is it? When you crash the car? I don't get it. I mean, it's F1 for goodness sake.
Give anything 5 seconds maybe, but 10's huge for something. If they watch the evidence and they know it wasn't really that serious, 10 seconds is huge.
Yeah. Let's read more. Jane says, "Is the track drying out?" There's been no rain.
Areas of the track.
Yeah. I think the first few turns are actually quite wet still.
Yeah, I think we're starting to get that driver line. When you can see on the track where it's dried out and everyone's just sticking to that one line. I think we're getting that. So it might be. Maybe by the end of the race we might get the dry tyres on. But I think if anyone pits next, it might still be for the intermediates.
Which is, I mean, it's a lot better than Canada. It was flooding in 2011. I mean, who remembers Malaysia 2012? There was literally puddles all over those last few turns. Applecore says Max going for dries and Lando is faster than you.
Oh no, not that.
No, not this again. Not the incident of 2010. And Jane says at least he is a team player on Daniel Ricciardo.
I think if they do it well strategy wise, McLaren, I think that they could seriously get good points for both drivers at the minute. So maybe let Norris go, see what he can do, put Perez under pressure for that 10-second penalty. But I have to say, Leclerc's doing a mighty job in that Ferrari. I know he's 17 seconds off sort of like the lead, but still keeping it in that third position when we've seen Sainz sort of go off the track a couple of times. It's looking good. Leclerc obviously had that incident before the race started, but apart from that, he looks dialed up.
We got Addy Bristol saying, I just subscribed for Let's Talk Sport. Thank you, Addy.
Thank you.
And that means we're now at 739, so let's get to 740. Who wants to be our 740th member? Just click that subscribe button if you're enjoying the stream, and it is free. If you're new to YouTube, it is free when you click that button. I wish they would change it to follow, not subscribe, because if you subscribe, you assume that you're paying for it. That's my thoughts, anyway.
Follow might be a better.
I've always thought that. My dad said it the other day, and he goes, "Subscribers? What are people paying for it?" I'm like, "Yeah, exactly. Doesn't make any sense." Anyway, back with the race. Hamilton's 5.3 seconds behind Verstappen, but he has the fastest lap at the moment. 20 laps in, and the only car out at the moment from the 20 is the Tiffy.
I've just missed that, but one of the commentaries said about somebody's got damage to their left front wing due to the first lap. So I'm not sure if that's Hamilton's. If anybody's listening to commentary, just let us know. I heard it faintly, but I'm not sure.
I think, Jack, I'm going to change my background. I'm going to join you. I'm going to join you.
If you can find one from one of the houses in terms of the view, that'd be great.
Oh, Sergio Perez has now got fastest lap, 1:26.4.
We might need that extra point.
Yeah, absolutely. What a bad day it's been for Perez so far. It's because I'm wearing this Mexican shirt. It's just a curse. I think when I last wore it, they lost in a football game. I can't remember.
You need to put a Dutch shirt on.
A Dutch shirt. There we go. Now you've got a background with me, yeah. Without green screen as well, even though I've got one. I'm not justifying how much I bought it for. It was only 20 quid.
To be honest, on the Zoom system that we've got it on now, they're both joined together, so it just looks like it's.
It looks like we're on the same bit of the circuit. Let's read some more of your comments. Joel says, "Look at 10th. I'm so happy and confused at the same time." Yeah, I know. Yeah, good point. I didn't see that. George Russell's 10th.
Let's not put too much pressure on it yet.
Well, we all remember what happened in Imola, don't we?
Yeah.
Last year. Hopefully he can. That would be some recovery from George Russell to get points here this weekend from a track where it did scar him, didn't it, Jack? He took it hard. He took it very hard.
Yeah. Well, I think people say it's a sort of embarrassment, isn't it, to crash under a safety car. I mean, Romain Grosjean did it at Baku, and who did he blame? Was it Ericsson at the time, which was funny. George Russell under the safety car last year, it just sort of twitched for him, didn't it? And obviously, absolutely gutted for him. So, and obviously had the issues at Sakhir for the Sakhir Grand Prix at Mercedes. So yeah, the last few races of the season for George weren't the best. So it'd be great if he got a point in this one. But yeah, shame for his teammate, the Tiffy, that he's not also in the race, because like I said, they were both looking strong for Williams for this race weekend.
We've just had Vettel getting a 10-second penalty because of the I've missed the reading of that. It was something to do with the pit stop, I believe.
Wheels not fitted at the 5-minute signal. Oh, is that when he started from the pit lane?
So what? Why have they only just done it now?
Yeah.
Unless they've only just looked at the
footage. He's sneaking about there because he's on the medium tyres. Is he the first person on dry tyres?
I think so.
Ooh, that's a gamble. I mean, he's 10-second penalty, so he might as well try something. But yeah, a bit of a gamble from Aston Martin and Vettel. Oh, Bottas still down in 9th position. Not looking good for the Finnish driver here.
No. And did Bottas got podium, didn't he? Yeah, last weekend. Yeah. Not last. It feels like it was last weekend, Bahrain. It's been that.
Yeah,
it's been that long.
They keep saying that on the TV as well.
Oh, do they?
Like 2 weeks ago, isn't it? Yeah.
There's more comments here. Connor Porter says Hamilton does have damage to his front wing on the left. I just saw the transcript of his team radio, saying that he feels like he's losing it.
He's doing all right, keeping 5 seconds with damage.
Miles says, "Come on, Lewis." We've got Joe Calibus saying, "Wow, nice." Joe from the Philippines. Hello, Joe. Who's your favourite driver? Let us know. And yeah, Applecore confirming it's a Vettel stop and go penalty. And Marta says, "Go Max." Where are you from, Marta? Are you from the Netherlands? And we're now at 745 subscribers. So we're just 5 away, folks, from 750. Be sure to click that subscribe button.
Just let me know, because I know you're a little bit ahead, Jamie. Just let me know how Sebastian Vettel does if he sort of takes that chunk out of Gasly. He's about 8 seconds on my sort of watch at the minute. So just let me know if he sort of drops that time and it gets a bit quicker, because that'll be everyone else. All the other teams will be watching that to see how Vettel gets along on them soft or them medium compound tires.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gone in now. Oh no, it's just the replay I was going to say. So yeah, they're showing a replay of them just literally drying the tyres. And then off he went again.
Can see them the dry line starting to appear. So so he went in. He came in to do the 10 seconds. Then after he pitted, was that the next lap, or was he doing that? Yeah. So he's getting the 10 seconds out of the way. Is Sebastian Vettel then?
Hamilton says grip is coming back.
Well, he's catching Max Verstappen from the streams.
He is, yes. He's 1.6 seconds quicker in that last lap, as we're now at 25 laps.
Maybe Max wants to run over them bollards. He might have lost a bit of weight from his car. Did Lewis Hamilton? He might be getting a bit quicker because of that on the first incident. So.
Yeah. Oh, I've nearly run out of water. Come on. I feel like I'm Kimi Räikkönen. You've got no water.
Where's my drink?
Where's my drink? So Verstappen now in the battle for first is 3.5 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton.
Interesting. Mick Schumacher's gone on to soft tyres.
He has.
Okay,
that's daring. Yeah, I'd love to see Perez do that, because that's where he started on, and we all hoped before the race it'd be all right. But then the weather came.
Yeah.
Blooming clouds. Blooming clouds.
Ooh, Bottas trying there, but he was going to go on the wet line. That would have been. Oh no, that was Lewis Hamilton, was it? Tried overtaking blue flags. Yeah.
Wow.
Not the best thing to do. I'd make the guys behind go on the wet side.
Yeah, I mean, well, Hamilton's on the intermediates, isn't he? I think Verstappen is as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think they were all still on there. There was only who started. I think it was Gasly, and there was somebody else that started on the wet tyres. The rest were on the intermediates. So,
of course, do stay around, folks. When the race is over, we'll be having a reaction to the race. We'll look back at the race, the best bits mainly, and then of course we'll nominate our driver of the day. Still plenty of racing to go though before that, as we're looking at turn 12 with Lewis Hamilton, who's trying to chase down Max Verstappen. 2.5 seconds is the gap for the top spot at the moment. You've got Hamilton second, Charles Leclerc third, Perez with the fastest lap so far in fourth, but he does have a 10-second penalty for what happened in the safety car moment at the start of the race. Lando Norris fifth, Carlos Sainz sixth, Daniel Ricciardo seventh, Lance Stroll eighth, Bottas ninth, and George Russell, George Russell in the Williams is currently 10th.
I think Mazepin's just come in as well, so it might be that both Hasses are on the dry tyres now. I haven't got the tyre compound on which he's coming out on, but it might be the soft tyres. Both Hasses are gambling.
Well, I think they need to gamble on the whole season, to be honest. Yep, Daniel. Oh, nice move by Sainz on Ricciardo there to go 6th.
It's not going well for Jane now, is it? Ricciardo's going back down the order.
No, Jane, what's going on? Have they give Daniel Ricciardo the slowest of the two cars? Is one a Satsuma and one the orange? I don't know what I'm even saying with that. Oh, Joel Mitchell's going to leave us because he says good night from New Zealand. It's 1:47 a.m. Oh God,
Oh, God, Joel.
that is very late. Oh my word, 1:47. So you're bloody hell. They're 11 hours ahead of us, Jack.
Goodness.
I knew there were a
Go
few.
back to work.
Yeah. We've still got the rest of Sunday yet. Well, it's nearly 3 o'clock
Rub
here.
it in.
What's that?
You're rubbing it in.
I'm rubbing it in. People don't like Sundays. Well, I don't, because I know it's the new week. It means you have to do it all over again. Jane says, help! Poor Jane.
There might be a strategy in there somewhere. Let's see.
Marta's from Poland. After showing his support of Max Verstappen. We're just 2 subscribers away, folks, from 750. So do click that subscribe button if you're enjoying the watch along. We hope to try and do all the Formula 1 races between now and the end of the season. We also do football. We're doing one tonight, actually, in football. We've got Inter Miami versus LA Galaxy in the MLS. Phil Neville managing Inter Miami with David Beckham, his boss, up against his old club back in his playing days. So do join us for that at 8 o'clock UK time.
What's happening in the pits? What's Verstappen going on mediums? I think that's the medium. Right, so Lewis Hamilton's pushing now with Max Verstappen.
He's going to have to, yeah. Charles Leclerc second, of course. Now Carlos Sainz has gone in.
Yeah, medium tyres. Medium tyres.
I'm surprised. Yeah, this, as you say, Mick Schumacher going in the softs is. I wonder how. Is he the only one on softs? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what his teammates are. I didn't get what tyre compound Mazepin went out on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they would be the only 2 that have actually gone on the softs, because I think everyone else is hoping that the medium will just take them to the end now, so they only have to do 1 stop. But
yeah, I've just
Sainz
seen.
is going on them as well.
I've just seen. I think it's Hamilton who's just gone into the pits. Where's Verstappen? He's not reaching the straight yet. Oh, this could be tight. This could be very tight. He's coming down the straight now. Hamilton's still got to come out the pits. Hamilton nearly lost it. Hamilton literally lost his steering just as he was coming out. I think he was hurry up, get faster, car. And Perez is in the pits. Perez is out. Perez is out. Oh no, he's changing his steer. He's changing his steering wheel.
Oh, he said he was having steering issues, didn't he?
Yeah, so he's in the pits now. He's come out of the garage. He's 4th, but just as I say that, they're showing a replay of Hamilton's pit stop. Now, did something happen here?
Well,
it was a slow stop.
It was quite a slow, yeah.
Yeah. We normally see 2 seconds, but 4 seconds is atrocious in F1 terms. But
well, I don't know if you noticed, but Daniel Ricciardo came in and did a 6.4, so I don't know what happened there either. So they changed that. So they changed the steering wheel. That's quite a clever thing. So if they were having issues with the steering wheel, they used that 10-second penalty for the same time of putting the steering wheel back on. So I think they've used that 10-second stop-go penalty now in the pit. So. So
Bottas is just coming out of the pits. He had a bit of a moment leaving there, and the fastest lap has gone to Verstappen now, a 1:24.169. I think there'll be plenty more chances for fastest lap. We've nearly reached the halfway point of the race as we reach 30 laps. So everyone's on the mediums apart from Schumacher and Mazepin.
Oh, is Mazepin on the softs now?
He is, yeah. I think Gunther Steiner has gone, this season's going to be shit. Let's do the opposite of everybody else and hope for the best.
Why not?
Why not? Let's read some of your comments. Marius Sava says, hello from Cyprus, lads. First time watching you. Hello, Marius.
Hello.
Who's your favourite driver, Marius? Have we ever had a Cyprus Grand Prix? I don't think we have we?
We haven't, no.
No.
Lovely weather though.
Yeah. I think F1's trying to make sure it's ticked every country, even like American Samoa. Somehow they'll fit a track on the island, or Madagascar.
Well, if the motorbikes can do an Isle of Man, pretty sure we can find an F1 place to do anywhere else.
That would be cool, but we'd have to let the fans be right close to those corners, like the Isle of Man.
Old school rallying days.
Yeah, where you could get killed. Oh, and Sebastian Vettel's got fastest lap now. Oh no, now it's changed again. Hamilton has now got fastest lap. How quickly that changed. But even though, I mean, not bad from Vettel because he's 17th, so something for him to shout about while he's at the back.
Oh, look how tight it's up with all them cars with the blue flags. Oh, Bottas is being lapped.
Oh, and Bottas is out, Jack. Oh, what's he done? No, Hamilton! It's Hamilton! He's out! Lewis Hamilton's out of the race. What's he done? Jack, you won't believe what he's just done. He's just gone just before the barrier, and then he's gone into it. And his front...
What,
well, actually, he might... No, he might... No, he's stuck. No, he's done. He can't get out of that. What have we just seen?
On his own?
On his own? Yeah. It just went into the...
Oh, he went on the wet line. Oh, he went on the wet line overtaking the Williams.
Oh, no. Oh, that's a big moment. And that is Lewis Hamilton's 24th DNF. But hang on a minute. He's reversing. He ain't giving up. And that's the one thing you'll get from Lewis Hamilton. He will do whatever he can. And he's coming out. He's coming out of the soil now. He's actually back out on the track. So that's a bit of time wasted for him if he had realised that a few seconds before. He's back out on the track. Oh, the front wing's coming off. The front wing, it sparks everywhere. And it's the front right. Oh,
unbelievable.
Oh, and there's been another incident. And it's Bottas, his teammate.
What?
And it's the Williams. Oh, I think it's George Russell. It's George Russell. Oh, no. They're both definitely out. They're not coming out of that. There's pieces everywhere, Jack. Debris all over the track. This is the greatest race of all time. What happened to Hamilton, though? I mean, Jack's seen it.
He went on the wet line to overtake Russell, I think. I don't know why he went on the wet line when it was a blue flag, but then just lost it. Oh yeah, look at that.
Word. What are we witnessing here today, folks?
My God, what has happened there?
Well, it's safety car at the moment, of course.
That's almost a red flag, almost, surely.
That's quite nice of George Russell there. He's gone up to Bottas.
We just said about Russell with the points.
Oh, actually, no. I think George Russell's absolutely pissed off with him. He's nodding. I thought he was giving him support, but he's taken his gloves off angrily. And he gave Bottas a pat on the back while he's in the cockpit. And here is Hamilton now. He's in the pits while the safety car's out, which is perfect for him because he needed it. And this is what I mean, Jack. How does Lewis Hamilton do it? He just seems to always find a way out of this. And that's what makes him,
Oh, yeah, they weren't happy. Russell wasn't happy with that.
Oh, Valtteri Bottas, what's he done? So, I'm not sure what happened there, but they're showing the replay now of Russell. And so Russell's actually trying to overtake Bottas. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Oh, Russell. He lost the grip. I think he did the same thing, Jack, where he went on the wet part of the track. But I never thought I'd see the day a Williams trying to overtake a Mercedes.
Why is he angry with Bottas then?
I'm not sure. I'm wondering if it's... Yeah, I'm... Unless, actually, maybe George Russell went to Bottas to apologise, and then when he walked away... Oh, I feel sorry for Bottas, to be honest.
I've got the replay now. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, he just span when he went for the overtake. I don't know what he hit, touched the grass on the rear. Oh, it's a big shunt for both drivers.
That's a real shame.
Oh, God, look at them both hitting the barrier there.
And now, I think it's George Russell doing the typical thing of sitting on the ground again.
Well, we just said about Russell, and he was in the points, and you said don't get your hopes up, and yeah, this is what's happened.
I do feel for him. That's a real shame. But on the plus side, we've reached 755 subscribers. So thank you everyone for the support. We've reached 750. Thank you very much. If you haven't already and you're enjoying this watch along, do click that subscribe button. We're hoping to do all the F1 races between now and the end of the season.
Bottas looks winded there with watching him on them. So they're both blaming each other on that incident.
Oh, I mean, it's surely George Russell's because he's lost control.
Well, I hope Drive to Survive aren't watching Toto this weekend because I doubt he's going to be very happy with this. How have we gone from Lewis Hamilton having an issue to both of the other like Mercedes program? Because they're all out of contract for Mercedes this year. They're the Mercedes trio, really, and they've all had issues in the 2 laps between each other.
So the race has been suspended.
Wow.
So the cars are going to line up in the pit lane. Yeah, there's a lot of debris to be sorted there. That makes sense. So, session has stopped as we've reached 34 laps.
We never got to this before on a live stream.
No. It was like this with the golf last week. It rained and I was like, oh, great. How long is this going to go on for? So Max Verstappen leading at the moment. Charles Leclerc second. Norris third. Perez fourth. Perez just doesn't want to go up, does he? He wants to stay fourth. Carlos Sainz fifth. That's seventh. Raikkonen eighth. Hamilton, who we thought had gone out of the race, somehow has recovered and changed the front wing in the pits, is 9th. Sonado 10th. Giovinazzi 11th. Alonso 12th. Ocon 13th. Gasly 14th. Vettel 15th with another fastest lap again from Vettel. He ain't given up on that bonus point, which is weird, Jack. I don't think we've ever seen a bonus point given to someone who actually doesn't finish in the points. I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, one thing I will say, and obviously it's good that you're still wearing that shirt, that Perez has already had his penalty in the pits and he's still fourth.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's taken his 10-second penalty in the pits.
Oh, yeah, because it was
position.
I kept thinking it was like they'll add it to his time at the end of the race.
Did he have a 10-second stop go?
Or... I don't think it was a stop go. I might be wrong though. I don't think so. Let us know in the comments, folks.
Let us know. Anybody that knows what the actual penalty was it 10 seconds at the end, or because sometimes when you have a penalty like that, you can take it in the pits. And I think when he was doing his steering wheel, I'm pretty sure they weren't doing the tyres at that point. So whether he's taken that 10 seconds in the pit stops, if that is the case, fourth position is pretty handy for him at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'd like to see that Russell Bottas replay again, as they're actually showing it. That's interesting. Oh no, they've just seen. Oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, Bottas. I feel sorry for Bottas, to be honest. I
watched Russell on board. So he goes to the right-hand side. I don't know if his rear touches the grass. Yeah, he touches the grass. I think it's Russell. As much as I don't want to say that, Russell touches the grass on the right-hand side, then loses the rear, and just hits Bottas, and they just then implode, the pair of them, onto the gravel. I think it's, unless I see Bottas is on board and he has an issue, for me it looks like Russell takes Bottas out from him hitting the grass. But yeah, Russell doesn't really look very happy with Bottas for me, and I don't understand why, because if you touch the rear and it's you that spun first, I don't think Bottas can't really do much about that, to be honest.
No. I do wonder if it's one of those, isn't it? We may have to wait until the interview comes out.
Yeah.
But, no, that doesn't look good.
Well, they might not be teammates next year after they've had this issue with the pair of them.
Maybe that's what George Russell's trying to do.
Or get in his head. So both Williams out with Bottas now. But this is the problem, okay? You know, as much as Hamilton just seems to have that luck, whereas Bottas goes straight out of the race. Hamilton has an incident, yet still continues, and he's in ninth, so he's still technically in the points. He just seems to have that, doesn't he?
Hamilton in a nutshell. So now, while they're all coming out their cars at the moment, and you're probably hearing engines in the background of our stream. They're not actually out on the track, so I've muted that for now. But we have reached 763 subscribers now. This is getting crazy. We really appreciate your support, folks. Do subscribe if you haven't already. But at the moment, if you're wondering what's going on, there is nothing going on because the session has stopped. And I will update the scroll text for you just to confirm that. I
will also say I might do a cheeky plug while we're waiting now. That
yes, go ahead.
We do have another channel, which is mine, and we obviously do. I do videos on. Jamie takes part in the podcasts as well, which is the Pole Position podcast. If somehow Jamie could put a link into the chat as well, that would be fantastic.
I'll do that now for you, mate.
But yeah, so it'd be the Pole Position podcast YouTube channel. We do videos on F1. We try and do 2 videos a week, and of course, a podcast. Every time there's a race weekend, we will do a race review and a podcast for that as well. So that goes on the YouTube channel as well as other podcast sources like Apple Podcasts. So yeah, please go and check that out and subscribe, or as Jamie would say, follow the YouTube channel. That would be very much appreciated. Like I said, we keep doing F1 videos throughout this year, and there's a lot of races that we're hoping. The F1 are still hoping for 23 races this year. So yeah, there's a lot of races to cover on in terms of race streams and race reviews and podcasts. So yeah, give that a follow as well. That'd be much appreciated. But like Jamie said, yeah, session has started. All the drivers are talking to the engineers, talking to the bosses, and Christian Horner, although they're wearing masks, I think he'll be pretty happy with the scenario that they're in at the minute. Mercedes, Bottas is out. Hamilton's down in 9th position. Verstappen's still in 1st with Perez 4th, and we're not sure whether he's already taken his penalty. If that is the case, Red Bull are looking quite well, and Leclerc in 2nd place as well.
I've lost my roller text for some reason. the things you have to do to when you're live is a bit of a pain sometimes. So, all right, come on, what are you doing? I'm just typing random things in so that it appears. Now it's just disappeared completely. So that can go. Sorry about this, folks.
I'll just go through the running order again while you're doing that, Jamie.
Yes, go ahead. That'll be helpful.
Max Verstappen's in 1st position. Charles Leclerc, like I said, good performance so far in 2nd place. Lando Norris is still in the running as well in 3rd. Sergio Perez, like I said, we're not sure if he's taken his 10-second penalty in 4th. Carlos Sainz had a few issues during the race with a few spins so far, but sitting comfortably in 5th position. Daniel Ricciardo as well in 6th. Lance Stroll doing quite well in 7th position. Kimi Raikkonen in Alfa Romeo, they've had a few issues, struggled in qualifying yesterday, but Kimi Raikkonen's up to 8th. Lewis Hamilton with his spin and hitting the wall damaged his front wing, but still managed to be in 9th position. Yuki Tsunoda in 10th. Giovinazzi in 11th, just outside the points. Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon 12th and 13th. Even with the issues, they're still not in the points, either of the Alpine cars. Pierre Gasly in 14th. Sebastian Vettel in 15th. Does have that fastest lap, but will not count unless he gets into the main points of 10th onwards. So has that fastest lap, but won't be used yet. I was going to go remaining after Vettel, but they've gone back to the replays. So I think it's the 2 Hasses. I'm not sure if there's somebody else after Vettel. But I have got the replays of that George Russell and Bottas incident again. So I'm just seeing it again. But okay, the only thing that Russell might be a bit annoyed with is that Bottas goes a little bit to the right. But the only thing I would say for that is that he's going to the right because he needs to make that corner. Otherwise, yeah, okay, I can maybe understand. I don't know if you've seen that replay again, Jamie. But maybe I can understand Russell's frustration a little bit that Bottas has gone to the right a bit as he's touched the grass. But the only thing I can think of is that, yeah, okay. Right, so Bottas did go to the right a little bit, but it's a very tight corner for that first sort of double chicane. So Bottas sort of has to make that move to make sure he makes the corner. But I kind of maybe understand where Russell's coming from. But from that, Russell, let's just see it again. Yeah, okay. So maybe I would say it's a racing incident. So Maxi, maybe I can understand understand why both drivers are upset with each other. But yeah, I mean, have you seen that replay again, Jay? I don't know if you've got your thoughts on that. But...
I'll be honest, I've not seen it yet. I've currently got Verstappen. I mean, all the cars are out the car at the moment. And actually, funny enough, Jack, Verstappen would go top of the championship if it stays as it is now. But I think with the way this race is going, it could end up just being a Sonado win. It's one of those races.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so many people going out. I know they've only had 3 cars going out, but Mazepin, can you imagine? That'd be daylight robbery right there. Absolute daylight robbery.
I'm not going to say no to a nice McLaren win at this point. Keep an eye out.
Who knows?
We might see a McLaren win.
We haven't seen one in a while. It's been nearly 10 years.
2012?
Yeah.
2012?
I can't believe it's been nearly 10 years.
Yeah, Jenson
That's
Button
crazy.
Brazil. Was it Jenson Button Brazil, or was that the last podium? Was that the last podium before last season?
Australia?
When was the last win? Australia was
the last
2014?
Win.
No,
2014 when it was Magnussen, and that was Magnussen's first race at McLaren as well. And he got third. Well, Button got second, I think. And yeah, the last win was Brazil 2012 with Jenson Button. Lewis Hamilton, there's a replay of him now who's out of the car at the moment, and he's
So he tries to take Russell. He tries to take Russell on the wet side with their medium tyres and just loses all grip. Look at that.
He's so lucky, isn't he? Because he should have been out of the race. But amazingly, Lewis Hamilton has stayed on. Now, if you've just tuned in, folks, there's nothing going on because the session has stopped due to the big collision we saw of Bottas and George Russell. Don't worry, both drivers are okay. They're out the cars, and well, they're more angry really at each other. It seems.
They're not happy with each other though.
No, they're not, and we'd love to see the interviews come after the race. Definitely, they're still having to sort out the cars, but there was all sorts of debris all over the track. So the cars are off the track now of the Mercedes and the Williams, but I'm not sure how long this is going to be, but it is a red flag. So hopefully we'll be back soon. But when the race had stopped, we had reached 34 laps, so we're only just past the halfway point. And it feels like Canada 2011, Jack, where you need a sandwich.
I have to say, it's crazy that we've been chatting about that recently. What would happen if an incident like this came along while we were doing a live stream? And
it's happened.
Watch along we've done.
If any of you folks are wondering where that link is to Pole Position Podcast, it's already in the description, but it's also on the live chat page. So do follow that. Definitely more analysis from Jack on that channel, because Jack does bring in certain scenarios in F1 which is getting to that point where I'm starting to believe some of it. It's like reading Jack's Holy Bible of F1. It's like, it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
These theories. So do check out that channel because there's some interesting theories in Jack's videos and you won't be disappointed. Rocky S says Perez should be disqualified.
Whoa.
Ooh, that's a big statement, Rocky. Don't know about
Jamie
that.
might not like you for that.
Yeah. It's all right. I won't lose it. Don't worry. Where are you from, Rocky? Let us know. Tahan Islam is asking, who is in the best position to win at the moment? I'll ask you that, Jack.
Well, I mean, obviously, we've got to say Max Verstappen, but I mean, depending, because at this point, unless they can't get the tyres warmed up again, not many of the drivers will want to be stopping again. Hopefully the medium tyre would get the rest of the teams to the end of the race. So Charles Leclerc is looking pretty in that second place at the moment. And obviously, like I said, Nando Norris is around that point as well. So I think anyone, I mean, and look, we've seen Lewis Hamilton spin out. We've seen Russell and Bottas crash. I know they weren't at the, fighting for the top three, say, but anything could happen. We saw Max Verstappen have a DNF last year because he went on to the gravel. So we still could have issues for Verstappen and Red Bull. Perez is still in that frame as well. I know, who was it in the comments just said, Rocky just said Perez should be disqualified. He may end up winning the race. At this point, I
hope you're right.
I honestly don't know, but I would say obviously the ball's in Verstappen's court to make sure he gets the win. And like you said, the gap would be extended unless Hamilton can take a few places. The gap would be extended in the championship standings again.
Funny, I mean, Perez did it once, didn't he, in Sakir? Well, in Bahrain, but on the Sakir circuit, where he had so much more worse than this in a race, and he still won the race. So, but
Yeah,
there was
he
no.
started even at the back, wasn't he? Yeah.
He was at the back, yeah. Of course, though, there was no Hamilton in that race. There was George Russell in that Mercedes, but Lewis Hamilton, he looks very relieved actually while he's waiting to go back out. He's still out the cars, the drivers. We've got some, of course, get your questions in, folks, because we are just waiting for the race to come back. Luca says Ferrari are back. They have been competitive this weekend, and actually this is the one place they want to do it because it's in Italy.
Yeah. And I think it was gutting for Carlos Sainz to not get into Q3 yesterday. So the fact that he's now in Leclerc's second and Sainz is fifth, I think, isn't it? They've dropped the leaderboard, but I'm pretty sure he's in fifth position at the moment. Once they get the restart going, so I think they are looking good. They've been, and you compare them to, because I was saying at the beginning of the season it'd be Aston Martin, McLaren, Alpine, and Ferrari. But I'd say when you look at where Alpine are at the moment in terms of this race, down at the bottom, not in the points. Aston Martin aren't doing that great. It's looking good for where Ferrari are positioned. And like you said, it is a sort of home race, as it were. I know that Monza, they always say, is like the home of Ferrari, but obviously Imola is an Italian circuit as well. Fans outside their balconies with the Ferrari flags, they'll want Ferrari to do well in this race, and they are sitting well at the minute in second and fifth.
I just saw. It's nice to see Ross Brawn. I haven't seen him in a while. He's getting greyer. He's definitely getting older, but
I think Bottas and Russell have a few grey hairs after this race as well.
Toto Wolff actually used to have black hair. That's now grey in the last half an hour. Let's look at more of your comments. Greg Livingstone asking, can they stop the race completely? If so, the way as it stands, Verstappen wins the race. They do this thing of, if it's not more than halfway through a race, they give out half points, don't they, Jack? But I think we are past the halfway point because it's a 63 lap race. And it might 34.
Also do the case, depending on how long this session is. I know they're saying it might be only 5 minutes to go, but it would be the case maybe where they would reduce the lap time, the lap counts, because obviously they have to do it in is it 2 hours maximum, or
yeah, it's 4. No, is it 4? Well, I remember in Canada it is 4. 2 hours is normally the limit if it's non-stop. So this started at what, UK time? It started local time. It started at 3 o'clock. Now, if there's no delays, as in if you have safety cars and all that, that's fine. If the race stops like this, then they can go over that 2 hour gap, from what I can remember. But they can't race for more than 2 hours because I'm not saying that the bodies of these F1 drivers can't take it, but I think it is because of safety. Because there's so much these F1 drivers go through in the 2 hours. I mean, think about how much weight they lose, Jack, because of the G-force.
Yeah. They keep doing that Bottas Russell incident. I don't know if you've had another view on that.
Well, I remember Canada. They had. I'm just seeing the George Russell moment again of him coming out of the car, and you've got the stewards and all that saying to him, "No, come here, don't go to him." It's funny seeing that slow-mo of George Russell slapping his helmet. That's why they wear helmets, to avoid punches.
Protect from other drivers. It's exactly. Giving me that Schumacher going down the pit lane to find David Coulthard.
Yeah, that was so scary. I've never seen someone so determined to knock someone out. So the race will resume in 10 minutes. But yeah, I think because I remember with Canada, they had to get the race done at UK time around 10 o'clock or half 10. And they were worried that with the rain going on for so long, people were thinking, well, this race ain't going to happen. But I think if that is to be the case, that the race will resume in about 8 minutes or so, then it's not too bad. Lando Norris is wiping his helmet, it seems. He's just chilling out while waiting for the start and to get back in the car.
I tell you what might be interesting on this race start. I don't know if it's just going to be a single, like a safety car restart. It hasn't really been announced yet. But if it was like they went back onto the the actual pit boxes, the people that would be starting and going onto the wet side of the track might be quite interesting if they did a restart like that. But it hasn't really been announced yet what they're going to do in terms of restarting the race.
So yeah, I've just put that on the message board at the bottom of our screen that it's a race to resume at 15:25. If you're in the UK, that's our time. Let's look at more comments. I think really it's a good chance for one of us to at least go to the toilet.
I might go in a minute, Jamie, if you want to go first.
If you go first. You go now. Go get yourself a drink, and I'll read the comments, and then you swap over.
Cool.
So the race,
lovely Imola in the background.
Oh, so it's not sunny though. That's a lie. That's a lie. It's raining. Well, actually, it's quite cloudy on Imola at the moment. It looks as though the countdown's on. The race will start in about just over 7 minutes' time. So 4:25 local time. If you're watching from the UK like me and Jack are, that's at 3:25. Anjo Junto says, "Go Checo." Tony asks, "Whose fault was it between the Bottas and Russell crash?" I have to watch it more. I've only seen a couple of replays. I would say George Russell. Jack kind of suggested towards Bottas. There's a lovely Ferrari badge banner over one of the stands with the words underneath saying "Go Michael." Needs to say "Go Mick" as well. His son driving, of course. He's currently 16th out of the 17 drivers that are still in this race. Eileen Barragan says, "Do you think Checo has a chance for podium?" I think he's got a good chance. The tyre choice for him at the moment looks good, and if I need to double check, but if he's had his penalty in the pits, which I thought it wasn't a stop and go penalty. I thought it was 10 seconds to add for the race results, but we need to check. But I don't see why not. That some people are tipping him to do it. It'd be great to see him get his first podium for Red Bull in just his second ever race. They've actually got the camera on him now. He hasn't got his helmet back on yet. Just over 5 minutes to go until we resume. Anjo says, "Norris and Checo going for third place." Lando Norris, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a podium today. He's done it a couple of times now, Norris, and he loves it. His racing and his experience is growing, and it's fantastic to see from a British perspective. Let's read more. Manuel Fernandez asking, "Is the race still going on?" So yes, the race will resume in just under 5 minutes' time due to the incident of Bottas and Russell. They've had to clear up the track. Clutch says, "Does Ferrari have better pace than McLaren?" I think it does. I've actually, you know what? I think they're both around the same. I'd say Leclerc's got the edge over all four of them in terms of both cars, but at the moment, I think this track's quite open between Ferrari and McLaren. We do miss those old days of, especially in the early 2000s and the late 90s, the rivalry of McLaren and Ferrari, especially in 2008 as well between Massa of Ferrari and Hamilton of McLaren. We all remember what happened on that last lap, don't we, where Massa was world champion for 10 seconds or half a lap or something like that. Jack is back. Jack, I'll get you to read more of the comments. We're up to Rocky S, who says, "Didn't change Perez's steering wheel under stop and go."
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I'll leave that with you. I'll be right back.
Jamie, no, go. All right, let's have a look. Will the cars come back out as is or right behind each other? That's an interesting one. I'm not too sure yet. We haven't had any information. I'm trying to keep an eye on the actual stream as to how they're going to form back up and what type of start it's going to be. Let me know in the comment section on what that is. I don't know if I've missed that in terms of how they're going to start. Oh, it's from Marios. Thank you very much. Hey, I'm loving the community of this stream. Yeah, it's fantastic to see all the comments coming through. Thank you very much for them. And like I said, please subscribe to the Let's Talk Sport YouTube channel. We're currently at 767, which is fantastic. We can get to 770 subscribers. That would be great. And like I said, please subscribe to the Pole Position podcast YouTube channel as well, which obviously will have a race review of the Imola Grand Prix on that channel with myself and Jamie Davis as well. So yeah, please subscribe to that as well. okay, Connor, but if there was a serious accident happened on the track, can they stop the race completely? They can. We have seen lots of races stopped completely before, but it is very unlikely if they can get it started again. Obviously, we had that incident with Romain Grosjean with the fire last year as well, but I think that took about 20 minutes, half an hour to get everything sorted for that. But yeah, if they can keep the race going, that's obviously something that I want to do. Luca, Lando Norris is giving everything this year. Yes, he does. He looks really good this season. Like I said, he has been looking well. Obviously with his new teammate of Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz gave him a great battle in the last 2 seasons. I think that's been a good team for McLaren. Obviously having Daniel Ricciardo in there as well this year has been pushing him. Daniel Ricciardo obviously still has to get used to the way the McLaren go. It's a Mercedes engine. That's never happened for Daniel Ricciardo before. So yeah, Lando Norris looked good. He looked great in qualifying yesterday. Obviously had that issue with track limits at the end, but it looked really good for Lando Norris. So we started the season fantastically well. So thank you, Luca, for that. Bryce, how do you think Norris will go? A lot of Norris comments, which is fantastic. Yeah, I mean he's looking great in third position. So it should be the case where he would get at least a podium. I mean, look, it could be McLaren's first win since 2012. Obviously, as a McLaren fan, I'd love to see Lando Norris get that win, but Charles Leclerc is looking good alongside Max Verstappen. Sergio Perez is looking good as well. Daniel Ricciardo, his teammate, is in 6th with Carlos Sainz in 5th. So, yeah, we'll see how Lando Norris goes. Rocky says, change it to this year to 2 hours of racing in a 3-hour window. Okay, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much, Rocky, for that. Clutch H, poor George. Yeah, I mean, I kept seeing the incident a number of times now in terms of that George Russell, Valtteri Bottas. I think it could be a driver error between the two of them. Obviously, Bottas moves to the right-hand side, and George Russell does touch the grass. So it could be 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But yeah, in terms of the stream, Jamie, Clutch H, I think it got to the comment of Clutch H where it says poor George. So we've gone through that incident. So yeah, it's not looking good. Up to Connor, I think Connor and Greg are having a bit of a text rivalry here in the chat. But Greg says, Jamie, what time is the Inter Miami game? And are you streaming it?
Oh, yes. We're streaming tonight at 8 o'clock, pretty much around the same time as the kickoff. So Inter Miami versus LA Galaxy. In their first games of the MLS, which I watched 2 MLS games yesterday, and my God, they were dull.
Was that the Austin? Was Austin FC on?
I did watch LAFC versus Austin, and it was funny. Carlos Vela went off the pitch, a Mexican-related topic, of course. Carlos Vela went off the pitch just to be treated, and then Bob Bradley changed the substitution, and Carlos Vela was ready, and he went, "What have you done?" And he goes, and then Bob Bradley actually announced it on the mic in front of the broadcasters and went, "Yeah, that was my mistake. I thought he wasn't being able to continue." And I thought, Bob Bradley, you terrible manager.
Right, so it looks like the cars are out on track now. They've all come back out. So yeah, depending on where you are, Jamie, I'll let you take over. Have they gone back into the pits again, or?
Yeah, I've just seen Verstappen go back in, so I'd imagine they've gone out to warm up the tyres. Of course, we don't have the commentaries from the F1. We have them on mute when me and Jack are watching because we're your commentators. Can't beat it.
So we've got Anjo. Rocky said it should be a standing start. Then we've got Anjo said Jack and Jamie. Who do you think is going to be in third position? So I'll let you go for that, Jamie, if you want. Who do you think? Lando Norris is in third place at the minute. Had moved up 4 places, but who do you think in terms of third place at the moment, that last podium spot?
Well, Perez is going to win the race, so it won't be him. That's a tough one. Hamilton, you just feel he'll do it, won't you? But again, we don't know what the track's like, do we? We've seen he could make another mistake, but I'm sure he's definitely learnt from that moment with the Williams not to at all go outside the dry parts of the track. So
okay, so it's a rolling start from what I see.
Well, Hamilton's 9th now, so even though he was in 9th, yeah, so he's 8th. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a rolling start, so they won't be battling each other. It looks like they'll just start as the positions are at the moment. So. Who will win the podium positions based on what you've seen? I think it will be Verstappen, Norris, and it could be Perez, but who knows in terms of Lewis Hamilton. Stefan's gone high. Can you just update us on what happened for the race stopping? That was down to the Russell and Bottas incident. You should be able to find that somewhere. We've gone through it in terms. I think it's a racing incident, but we'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But yeah, that was the reason why the race had to be suspended and the red flag came out, because it was quite an accident. We obviously had Lewis Hamilton in a lap before hitting the barrier, but he managed to get back out onto the racetrack. But yeah, Bottas and Russell didn't make it, and they've obviously had to red flag the session for that. So that's the reason why the race stopped.
Sorry, Jack, I'm just updating our roll the text.
Apple Core says it was a stop and go. 99% sure he served it for Sergio Perez, so that could be interesting.
Do subscribe to the channel, folks. We're currently at 773 subscribers, so really do thank you for that support. Let's try and get to 800. And they have restarted. Here we go then. What can they do here? So, Verstappen leading. Norris into second. He goes past Leclerc. Well done. Well done, boy. Does all right there. He's now second, Norris. So, who knows? Could Norris get a podium? Oh, and one of the AlphaTauris has gone, and so's the Alpine. But the Alpine continues, and I think it's Art Sonado. Sonado's gone off the track. Will he come back on? I'm not sure. The camera's gone off him, so I can't tell you. And he's still there on the part of the track, and it was at turn 3, it seems. Oh no, he's moving again. He's moving again. Hamilton's gap to Verstappen's 5.7. Of course, it's green flag. The track's only just cleared again.
Oh, did Hamilton push him off because he's got up a place?
Anything to get up a place. Whatever it takes to make sure Verstappen's not top of the championship.
Let's just push Sonado out.
So yeah, Sonado, did he go on the wet part of the track? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, there is that one fine line in terms of the race now to see where the dry line is for the track. If you go onto that wet line, we saw what Lewis Hamilton did earlier in terms of going and into the barrier because he touched the wet part of the circuit. So,
loads of comments coming in from you guys. We'll try and read more in a bit, but do hang around after the race is finished because we'll do a reaction to the race, and of course we'll be taking in your comments.
has he managed to get the car out, do you know, in terms of Tsunoda, or?
What's that, sorry?
I said, has Tsunoda managed to get out of the gravel? Is he still going?
He has, yeah. He has, yeah. He's back. He's 15th currently.
Tell you what, Norris might give Verstappen a great battle here. We might have a McLaren Red Bull battle.
Can you imagine if McLaren win this race? I'll tell you what, why not?
Red Bull, who should be the fastest car this season so far, might lose to Mercedes in the first race and McLaren in the second. I mean, that's not a great start if you've got the fastest car.
No. And then Christian Horner will retire.
Yeah, Christian Horner will be blaming someone like he does on every year. There's got to be someone to blame. But is track limits in play today? Do we know that? Have we spoken about that? Because obviously Lando Norris got done a few times for track limits yesterday in qualifying. Does it matter in the race?
I mean, this is the thing. I hope it's not like that in the race because, God, you know, it's very harsh, isn't it? I mean, I get it in qualifying. I completely get it. But yeah, this track doesn't take any prisoners. Max Verstappen trying to fend off Norris as he's got a fastest lap now. Max Verstappen a 1:21.006. 1.5 seconds behind is Norris. Charles Leclerc third, Perez fourth. And the three cars out, as you can see on the text below, currently Bottas, Russell and Latifi. Amazingly, only 3 cars have gone out. Feels like it's been more than that.
Yeah, Max Verstappen now has the fastest lap. Now, Greg Livingston actually has asked, Jamie, is Inter Miami all owned by David Beckham or is it a share ownership? I believe it's share ownership.
It's a share ownership, yeah. I think so. I think he's the poster boy, isn't he, of the ownership at Inter Miami. I might be wrong, but I don't think he, yeah.
We've got loads of comments. I'll just go through them. Apple Core, Ricardo's been struggling, not a good sign. newer drivers have more adaptability. Vettel struggling as well. He is at the moment, but Aston Martin as a whole who seem to be struggling. Jack and Jamie, who is your best team for EPL? I'm guessing that's English Premier League.
Oh well, he's a delighted man right now. He is.
We'll obviously have different opinions on that, but obviously Chelsea's the best team for that.
I mean, Man United are way better. I mean, they're above Chelsea, just below City, sadly.
Luke has gone. Lewis Hamilton is still one of the best. Amazing. Well, I mean, he's lucky to still be in the race with the incident he had, but he's now up to 8th and only 10 seconds off the lead. So, anything can still happen with Lewis Hamilton in the podium positions for this. Who knows? Rolling start. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Alonso definitely coming back here every race day. Oh, thank you very much, Alonso. In terms of the other Alonso, where he's in 11th place, though. Talking about Alpine or Alpine, however you want to call it, Alonso's now only 1 place off the points. So who knows? We might get a point for Fernando Alonso here.
Well, I'll ask the Alonso in the live chat page. Are you the best Alonso in the world, or is Fernando?
Oh, is Perez gone out? What's happened to Perez?
What? Yeah. Oh no, I've just seen it. Oh, he's gone off the track. Well, that's him done. He's 14th at the moment, so he must have come back on.
Down the lap board.
This circuit is anyone's race. I'll say this now.
Every week, I think. Just come back to Imola every week.
Yeah.
It's an absolute joy.
Wait, what was that idea Bernie Ecclestone once had? Get the sprinklers in on some of the tracks. Yes.
Let's see what happened.
I tell you what, Verstappen's had no problems. He's been consistent and solid throughout today because he's now just done another fastest lap.
Jamie, I think again, Perez might have just touched the wet line.
I think that's what I feared. Hamilton's just gone through Lance Stroll. He's now up to 6. Oh, this is Hamilton going to do a Jensen Button? Let's calm down. We all remember Jensen Button.
Tell you what, though, I mean, Perez has now gone out. Ferrari 3rd and 4th.
This is crazy, isn't it? But Sainz had a terrible qualifying, like 11th.
Gone past Stroll. Oh, Stroll's battling him. Oh, he's past Stroll. Yeah.
Lance Stroll's had a good race, I think.
Yeah.
7th at the moment. Of course, his teammate Vettel can't even get into the top 10. He's 13th, which, I mean, is it, Daddy, can I have the better car, or is it actually Vettel's standard not being very, very good anymore?
Well, I've just said about Fernando Alonso. He's now into the points with Perez dropping down.
Daniel Jarvis says, "Come on, Norris." Yeah, I think they're all eyes on him at the moment. And another fastest lap from Max Verstappen. Now, this time a 1:19.5. Oh, just as I say that, there's a new one. And it's from Lewis Hamilton. Good response to someone who is, of course, contending with him for the championship, you feel, this year. He's gone a 1:19.4.
Rocky said, have you seen the new race for next year? Yes, we have seen the announcement for the Miami Grand Prix 10-year deal. So we will be seeing a lot of the Miami Grand Prix. Not sure when they said it would be during the calendar. I think they've said middle part to the second part of the year. It won't be as close to the actual one in Austin. I don't think they're doing it back to back, but I don't think it'll be that far apart. Maybe a few races, but two American Grand Prix next year.
I would love it if they did it after either the week before, or the week after Mexico, because I don't know if you're up for it, Jack, but let's do a road trip. Miami and then go to Mexico City, or the other way around, whichever way around it'll be. Oh, Perez has gone off again, but not as bad this time. Yeah, he went off the track only a little bit, but then he did get a bit of the gravel in his wheels. But yeah, Perez, it's a shame because it's one of those races, I guess. Max Verstappen's responded to Hamilton. And it's now a 1:18.9. So Hamilton, I wouldn't be surprised if Hamilton gets podium. I wouldn't be surprised. He's trying to chase down Ricciardo now. Trying to go for 5th.
Max Verstappen hit fastest lap again.
And Giovinazzi's going in. What's this for? They've had to deal with his rear right tyre there. I'm not sure what that was all about. It's not the usual pit stop. Giovinazzi, I'm not sure what he went in for there. Because I don't think he got any penalties.
Yeah, I'll have a look. Right, so he's had an issue. It's something with the brakes. I don't know if something's been caught in the brake duct. So they just brought him in just to see if they can get something out to cool the brakes down. So he hasn't gone to change his tyres. It was a brake issue.
Ooh. Oh, hang on. There we go.
Oh, Yari's put, come on, Max. In a lot of exclamation marks. There's a lot of exclamation marks.
This will be a big win for Verstappen if he gets it. Because not only has he dealt with the conditions, but it's also just getting that equaliser. Because I think, it's all about talk, isn't it, Jack, before a season, but you've got to take the wins when it's there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I think the way that they looked like they're the better team for this year as well. As Hamilton goes... Oh, that was easy from Daniel Ricciardo, wasn't it? That overtake.
Yeah.
God.
So, yeah, Max Verstappen leading. 42 laps gone, so we're nearly at 20 laps remaining. And we're just seeing this is a good battle to see. Even though it's 11th and 12th, it's Alonso versus Vettel. Going back the years there, aren't we? From 2012, at least from 2012, 2010, there was some good championship battles between them two in those 2 years, from what I can remember. Verstappen fastest lap again. It's a 1:18.6. Oh, now Hamilton's responded. 1:18.3. God damn it! It's so interesting just seeing it from them two's eyes. Actually, I don't know if Sky offer it anymore or any other broadcasters, but you used to be able to click the red button and pick which onboard camera you want to watch. And I always used to...
Yeah.
I've never had that because I don't pay for Sky, but I would love to always watch it when it's someone going up the leaderboard.
I think Perez last race in Bahrain would have been a good one to watch, the way he worked his way up the field.
Mm.
He's going to have to do it again, though.
Yeah. So, 20 laps to go. Who's going to win the Imola Grand Prix? Let us know. Is it going to be Verstappen, or do you think maybe Hamilton could creep up on him?
So they're telling Lewis Hamilton that Norris might drop off with him being on the soft compound tyre at the end of the race.
Stephanie Tan says, Norris, let's go, mate. Where are you from, Stephanie?
It'll just be if the soft tyre can last for that period for Lando Norris. As I see Vettel drop the right rear into the gravel as he's trying to get past Fernando Alonso. Not like that, he's not. This is the thing that does depress me a little bit, is that I can hear just slightly in the background in terms of Sky's commentary. Everything else is going on in this race. I want to be watching others, but they're just focusing on Hamilton again.
Yeah.
Just show me somebody else and talk about something else. Talk about how well Norris is doing, or how
show
well
me Leclerc and Sainz, maybe.
Just Sky. It just seems to be Sky Hamilton, and it's just a little bit depressing.
Yeah. Of course, it is crazy. Lewis Hamilton was, I thought for a moment, as you saw in our watch along, I even shouted the words "Hamilton's out," and yet he's still here.
There isn't many races he doesn't finish, is there?
Bryce Wacker's asking, will there be another pit stop?
Maybe for the two McLarens, because sadly they're on the softs, but...
Yeah, I can't see there being many more pit stops.
Unless we have an incident where the safety car comes out and people feel like maybe they can make a pit stop in that time. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Connor Porter says, loving the speed of the McLaren. Yes, I think that McLaren has surprised us a little today. I think we were expecting good things from McLaren this season, but because they have improved slowly, and me and Jack have talked about Zach Brown and his management since he joined the team, where it's that, let's be real here, let's slowly take the steps and not try and go for the top step.
Yeah. The only thing I would be hoping for maybe is that Ricciardo would have battled Hamilton a little bit longer, but he's now like 5 seconds behind, I think, maybe Hamilton. So, yeah, it's been a little bit more difficult, say, for Ricciardo than Norris. But, yeah, I mean, hopefully Norris can stay in and around that, but I think he might have to pit again before the end because of the tyre option he's on. So he might drop down a little bit. So it might be that Norris misses out on a podium at this rate. It could be Ferrari 2 and 3 on the podium at the Imola Grand Prix, the way this is going.
Which is exactly what we weren't expecting, Jack.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I mean, I'll never forget 2012 when up Max Verstappen a 1:18.2 fastest lap so far. But I'll never forget.
Hamilton can do again.
yeah, Hamilton will just do it again.
Up to you,
he's pretty much around 13 seconds behind Verstappen at the moment. Is Lewis Hamilton in 5th. And here's Perez now trying to overtake Vettel. He's going to have to get past Vettel and then Alonso in his bid to get into the points. And Ocon's 10th at the moment, so Perez has got a lot to do. Apple Core saying softs looking like the wrong choice. Yes. I mean, I don't think it made much of a difference for the Hasses because they're very slow. But because they went into softs before the safety car, well, before the race was stopped, wasn't it? And they were the only ones on the softs at that time. So I think you're right there, Apple Core.
What do you think of the Portugal track, Portimao? Because he's from Portugal and he saw the race live last year. What do you think on the next race we've got at Portimao?
You know what? I can't remember much from Portimao because Hamilton won the World Championship in Turkey, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I wish that was back. Oh, good that wasn't on the calendar.
I wish to get back. Yeah.
It is weird. It's funny how we've got 2 tracks from last year that weren't supposed to be in last year's schedule being it this year. So of course maybe one has to give next year with Miami coming in. Surely they're not going to go more than 23 races a season. That's too much for me if you ask me. As much as I love F1, I don't want to see that many races.
Yeah, I think though it might be the case that they might consider maybe taking Imola off the grid, but after the race today, I think you can't do that at all.
No, don't. But then, Miami Grand Prix will be some spectacle. But again, I don't know anything about the circuit. I've not seen the plans. I'd imagine there is. There's 3 big straights apparently. From what I've seen.
One just outside. I think the pit straight is just next to the stadium. So the Miami Dolphins stadium.
Oh really? Oh cool. Yeah. That'd be nice. Not that Mexico did that before, but actually went into a stadium. Old baseball stadium. Oh, Perez couldn't get past Vettel. He's going to try again, though. Of course, Vettel up against his old team there in the Aston Martin. And Perez going against his old team as well. Well, Racing Point, I guess. But yeah. Actually, Connor saying loving the speed of the McLaren, as I mentioned before. But I bet Connor's got his orange McLaren cap on, and I bet he wears it when we do our post-race. Excuse me, my words are gone. Post-race reaction straight after the race. It'll be on the same stream, folks. So do join us for that. So don't go anywhere afterwards. Oh, Perez going off the track there.
He went over the Hamilton ones from earlier.
He did. And you can actually see Perez in the helmet there. It's good lighting on him there.
Whoa.
If you haven't already, folks, do click that subscribe button. We're currently at 776. We'd love to get to 800, so do help us get there by clicking that subscribe button. If you're unsure how it works, it's free. You just simply click it, and then you'll be able to follow our future streams for the F1. And for other sports, we also do football, tennis, rugby, you name it. And we're also going to be doing a bit of the World Snooker Championship as that has started at the Crucible over the weekend. Of course, there's a couple of weeks of that to be played yet. Can Ronnie O'Sullivan retain it after last year's win? Back with the race, it's still Verstappen top.
One of the comments is, I'm not sure who it was, I've just flicked off, but is Stroll gaining on Daniel Ricciardo? That's from Adrian. I mean, the gap's at 5.5 seconds, gone to 5.2 now, so it does look like he might actually catch Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo's dropped away from Lewis Hamilton now. It's almost 10 seconds, so it could be that Lance Stroll goes for that overtake on Daniel Ricciardo in a few laps' time if he keeps the pace up.
I'm just seeing Hamilton now. He's trying to go for Sainz, but Sainz has actually got older tyres, only by 5 laps. 21 laps for him, and Hamilton's got 16 laps in his medium tyres. Of course, Norris is on softs, let's not forget. And he's been on them for 17 laps.
Yeah. I think that's, you can see with the way he's dropped away from Verstappen now in terms of them softs.
Yeah. Perez has gone past Vettel. He's just behind Alonso now. So I think Perez, he's good at recovering, but I think top 10 is the only realistic option, I feel. There's only 14 laps to go. Hamilton, in his bid to get a podium, he couldn't get past Sainz. And this is what we want to see. We want to see some of these younger drivers fight for those positions and actually defend them against the likes of Lewis Hamilton, who's no doubt one of the best, probably I'd say the best driver on the grid. That's probably quite an easy statement, but
yeah.
He's got 7 world championships to prove that. We've reached 50 laps, 13 to go. The Hasses are still at the back of Mick Schumacher and Maisie Spin. At least they're not going to finish 19th and 20th because of.
Sorry, I was going to say, is Mazepin 26 seconds behind Schumacher though?
Yeah, I'm so confused.
How does that work?
Oh, Hamilton has gone past Sainz. I've just missed that.
Has he? Oh no.
So it looks as though a podium's possible here for Lewis Hamilton.
It's a little bit annoying.
Adrian saying, is Stroll gaining on Ricciardo? I'm not actually sure what the gap is, but yes, Stroll's
I said that a minute ago, and he's gone to now 3.7, so it was 5 seconds a minute ago. So
I forgot to mention Stephanie Tan's from the Philippines. So from the Philippines, Stephanie. We've actually had a couple of others on the live chat page, Stephanie, come from the Philippines as well. So great to see some of you from there watching our stream. Thank you very much.
So Max Verstappen would win the race now with the fastest lap point. So it would be 26 points that Max Verstappen would be leaving here with. It'll just see how many Lewis Hamilton can get as well. Oh, Lando Norris getting vibrations. Not sure if it's from the tyre or any other issues on the car.
Oh no.
Not good. Come on.
No. Thing is though, you don't see, Leclerc's on him now, but there's Hamilton right behind them as well, so Hamilton wouldn't mind if they both just crashed and he took over.
That would be the luck of Lewis Hamilton, wouldn't it?
It really would. It really would. Marius Sava has put his prediction in. Verstappen, Hamilton and Leclerc in the top 3.
I mean, depending on if Norris drops off here, I think it could be a very good prediction there.
Applecore says Stroll's gaining at like a 10th a lap. Bryce Racker says, did Renault change name? Yes, they did, Bryce. Renault changed to Alpine, which Renault did leave, didn't they, Jack? If I can remember. Renault did leave F1. Or did they change the name? I can't actually remember.
This is basically Renault. Yeah, they've just changed the sports car brand is now Alpine for Renault. So yeah, they have just changed name to the Alpine, so like the sports car side of Renault.
Which, to be honest, with your Bryce, I wish they didn't change it.
No, well, I mean, Esteban Ocon might finish ahead of Fernando Alonso at this rate.
Yes, and that would mean Ocon would at least get 1 point if he finishes in 10th and Alonso stays in 11th. Perez trying to get past Alonso. Of course, Perez and Alonso have some memories together out on that racetrack. 2012 Monza, 2012 Malaysia, when Alonso overtook Perez to win the Malaysian Grand Prix, which was on a wet track as well, like today, but not as bad. It was a lot worse in Malaysia than Imola. which is one circuit I'd love to see back on the calendar. Always had good races in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So the camera's all focusing on Max Verstappen as he goes down the straight. 53 laps now, 10 to go. Which, of course, has been a delay to the race with what happened with George Russell and Valtteri Bottas, which I don't know if they've been interviewed yet, but I think it is going to be Verstappen's. He's 14 seconds ahead.
Yeah, unless he does a driver error, I think it should be Max Verstappen that takes this win. Although, I've just said it, Lewis Hamilton's got the fastest lap, so he's taken that off Verstappen again.
I'd love to know if anyone's done a tally of how many times Verstappen had fastest lap and how many times Hamilton had fastest lap. Because it's literally been between the two and a little bit of Vettel.
Yeah.
But yet Vettel's 14th, which, yeah. But Hamilton at the moment, he'd love to get himself on the podium at least with what happened to his car.
You just can't believe that he had that issue and he's now in 4th place after that.
It was such a weird incident though, because he was there for ages and then he just decided, I'm going to reverse the car, and it was no problem.
Yeah, he looked like he was coming out of a shopping centre car park, wasn't it? The way he was just reversing out.
Yeah, he was brave because luckily for him, there was no cars going in onto the track, really.
Charles Leclerc's just got to keep him behind. He's got to stay in the DRS of Lando Norris, really, to keep Lewis Hamilton at bay. I think as long as Charles Leclerc stays in the DRS, although Hamilton will get it as well, I think that should be enough just to keep Hamilton at bay. But if Norris manages to pull away from that second gap for the Ferrari, it could be that Hamilton overtakes Charles Leclerc. So it'll be interesting with these 10 laps to go or 9 laps to go, how that continues. But Lewis Hamilton's looking fast at the minute.
We've just had Sarai Bantara asking where is Checo. Checo is currently 12th. He's 12th place at the moment, just behind Alonso.
Yeah, we were saying it was all rosy again for Sergio Perez. You had your Mexico shirt on, and then it all went back down again. We all got issues again.
It's going quick now. The laps are slowly getting away. 8 to go.
Norris is already moaning about Mazepin, saying he needs to make sure he gets out of the way of all 3 of us, because if he doesn't, it could be an issue for one of the 3. It could be that he costs one of the 3 in terms of a position. So Norris is already moaning, and Mazepin's still about 4 seconds up the road, but he's making it clear already that he doesn't want him to get in the way.
Alyssa
takes the fastest lap, Jamie, again.
God damn it. Will it stay like that though? That's the question. Alyssa Ridley says, any insight in...
And Hamilton's passed.
Oh, I missed that. Oh yeah.
Jamie, you're faster. You're ahead of me. Come on.
It's the chat page. It's going crazy.
So he is in the podium positions now. Charles Leclerc
Third place. Alyssa Ridley asks, any insight into what is going on with Ricciardo? Well, Ricciardo's 6th at the moment, and I think he's going to stay there because he's quite a few seconds behind Sainz. Is he 15 seconds behind?
Yeah, Stroll's only 1.1 now, though.
Yeah, and for Stroll, if he can get another place, I mean, either way, 7th would look good for Stroll when his teammate Vettel is 14th behind an AlphaTauri at the moment. And so, yeah, Hamilton in the podium. 7 to go. Lando Norris, though, he's holding in. Can he hold it in at 2nd place?
How is Lewis Hamilton going to get 2nd place out of this race?
How? But this shows, doesn't it, Jack, that when you're someone like Verstappen, you just can't rely on him to make mistakes, can you? You can't, you can't hope that Hamilton's going to do that, because I love it how
even a bad race or a bad instant, he still gets the points.
Well, I love it when that graphic came up when Hamilton was off the track, and it was literally just it was the stats saying it was his 24th DNF of his F1 career. Something tells me Lewis Hamilton saw that and he went, "I'll make sure it's 23. Thank you very much. I'll reverse my car." Yeah. We're at 778, folks. Do help us get to 780 subscribers before the end of the race. Just click that subscribe button and follow us for our future F1 race watch-alongs. And of course, if you look in the description, Jack has his podcast called the Pole Position Podcast. So do follow that as well. 6 to go. Verstappen 18 seconds. Norris. Yeah, he is. It'll be interesting. Yeah, Norris is going to let... No. I thought he was going to let him through, but he hasn't. Norris, they got onto the first turn and he was able to hold on, but it's just a matter of time.
These cars are quite wide on this track, but Norris is going to have to make his a bus to stop Lewis Hamilton getting past him at this rate. He's going to have to... Jose Mourinho will park the bus, I think, to stop Lewis Hamilton getting past.
Jose Mourinho, isn't he the guy who says that he would feed his son or something like that? I mean, my God, that guy really has lost the plot. And here I was defending him. Doesn't help me, does he? 6 laps still to go. Verstappen 18 seconds ahead now, but can Norris hold on? I think there's a lot of McLaren fans, and well, it's 2 Brightons going for it, so it's a bit mixed for our British motorsport fans, but for Lando Norris, if he can somehow defend this would be incredible. We've got 5 laps to go now, 58 done of the 63, and of course I don't think there will be any early end because it is around 4 hours or something like that.
Let me know, Jamie, because Stroll's in the DRS for Ricciardo now.
Ooh. I've still got him 7th at the moment. All the cameras are on Norris and Hamilton. Hamilton trying to go again on that turn 1, but no luck again.
Come on, Lando.
I think if he gets 3rd either way, Lando, another podium, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely, but I think the way he's raced with these soft tyres now to the end, I think he's deserving of the 2nd place.
He's done a Perez.
Yeah. Tyre management, if you can keep hold of this.
Well, Perez is struggling. He's still 12th. I don't think he's going to get past Alonso at this rate.
Alex Albon will be smiling now, won't he?
Oh. It is annoying. It'll be interesting to see what Christian Horner says. Gasly's gone off the track and he's come back on. But that will, of course, help whoever's 9th, which is Kimi Räikkönen. That's the one name we've just not talked about in this race. And yet he's going to get top 10. And he didn't even make it into Q2, Jack.
Has Gasly dropped down out of the top 10 now? Does that mean the 2 Alpines are in the top 10? Or what?
No, Gasly's still 8th. He's still 8th. But I think actually Räikkönen's still around 8-10 seconds behind Gasly. So I don't think it's going to...
So he stayed in position, yeah. He was close on Stroll as well, so whether he just got in the dirty areas and came around the corner, I don't know. But yeah, he just lost it in the gravel, didn't he?
And we've reached 780. Thank you very much, folks. We're now at 781.
Wow, thank you. That's a great subscriber list for the stream, so while we've been on air. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you all. We appreciate your company, especially during the when there was no racing. We all thought we had to pack up and go home, which we are home. But anyway. Hopefully we will have fans back in the races soon. There isn't any this weekend in Imola. 4 laps to go. Norris and Hamilton, they're still battling it out, and it's half a second between the 2, which is nothing. The McLaren engineers are just watching on. They don't look nervous. I think they're just excited by the pace of the car.
It's interesting that these 2 are battling it out now to the end of the race when... Obviously, we saw Lando Norris a bit upset with himself for that qualifying, and Lewis Hamilton obviously put in the comments of that post that he put to, keep strong, and you should never be upset about giving it absolutely everything on the racetrack. So Here they are a day later battling it out for 2nd place. Absolutely,
he can do it, Lando. It's not an easy circuit to overtake. That's the advantage he has.
Straight, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, and as we say that, they're on turn 1 now. Here he comes, Hamilton. He's on the out. Oh, he's done it. No problem. On the outside, he's 2nd. And there's, of course, claps all around from Mercedes. Toto Wolff gets a pat on the back from one of his colleagues there. and it looks as though we're going to have Verstappen first, Hamilton second. So it looks as though we're going to have the reverse of what we had in the opening race. But this is what we wanted to see in a championship battle. We wanted to see an early equaliser from Verstappen, and we've seen it. Well, still 3 laps to go, of course, folks. But at this moment in time, Verstappen is going to get his first race win of the season. In all fairness to Norris, I'm glad he didn't really go for that fight in turn 1. I don't think he had the pace anyway, but he'll take third.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll take third. Because I don't think Leclerc's... Is it? Yeah, Leclerc's 4th, isn't he? Yeah, Charles Leclerc 4th at the moment.
To be honest, I mean, I've only just realised it while looking at the standings, but to be honest, this actually has been a great recovery from Mercedes, because second place with Red Bull first, but they've obviously, Mercedes have lost their second driver in Bottas, but Perez isn't in the points for the second driver for Red Bull either, so it's actually not that bad of a recovery really for Mercedes when you look at it now.
Lewis Hamilton's got fastest lap.
Oh God!
So there's a bonus point that could be very valuable. But Verstappen, let's not forget, he's got 20-second gap over Hamilton. Could he get told by the engineers, look, you've got some space around you, why not try and record a fastest lap? What I love about the fastest lap bonus point, it's a great idea, and it's obviously stuck in F1. But actually, at this moment in time, Hamilton will be topped by 1 point. And Lando Norris will be third in the championship. Wow. I know it's only 2 races, but who knows?
No, he's on fastest in all the 3 sectors as well. So Max Verstappen, if he is, I doubt Red Bull will tell him now. I don't know if they'll want him to push, because if he pushes and crashes now, trying to get that extra point.
And the Haas cars have had an eventful day. They're still 16th and 17th.
24 seconds Mazepin's off Mick Schumacher, though. God.
Oh, there's a yellow flag in Sector 2. Oh, no, it's green flag again, so the track is clear. So I thought for a moment we might finish on yellow flag there, because there's only a lap to go. 62 done of the 63. Some of the marshals and the racing stewards are slowly getting them into the positions they like to be in when it's at the end, when they wave and applaud all the drivers that finish the race. And it looks as though there's a poll up saying that Lando Norris should probably be the driver of the day, and I completely agree with that. And Mazepin has spun again.
No, he hasn't.
He's done it again. Oh, for God's sake. It was funny at first, but now it's just sad. Maisie Spin, as some people like to call him, is that reputation is not looking good for him. The nickname stays.
You can give him the odd 1 or 2, but is that like 4 since he started that in the last race?
And Günther Steiner said that he's been thinking about it too much. I think you're absolutely right. We're into the final lap. Vettel's gone into the pits, and it looks as though he is going to just have a DNF. Yep, he's going into the garage, and that's him done. I didn't hear the team radio, but he was 14th, but now he'll finish last at this rate. Oh, no, sorry, it'll be a DNF, what am I saying? Anyway, Max Verstappen, he was on his last lap now. He was always known as the Lewis Hamilton contender for this year, but it was all about talk before the start of the championship season. As he goes past one of the Haas's now on a blue flag, of course, Max Verstappen, he's been a dangerous driver ever since we've seen him, not in terms of causing problems on the track, but he certainly sees an overtake when he sees one. Not many drivers have the eye like Max Verstappen, and I feel that this is his year to try and upset Mercedes. And I think if anyone wants to go back at this time in a few years' time, especially when our grandkids come up to us and ask who stopped Mercedes during that dominance, well, Max Verstappen would certainly love to have that credit. It's a big, long season to go, and he's about to reach the end here. So Max Verstappen does it. The Flying Dutchman wins the Imola Grand Prix. And that's an equaliser there for Verstappen and for Red Bull. They've certainly cemented their place in this championship battle. It's an early race win for them, and that's exactly what they wanted this weekend. Lewis Hamilton is going to finish in second with the fastest lap. So with that bonus point, which just shows how important that could be this season, especially right now, he will end the second race top of the championship by a single point. And Lando Norris does it. He gets third place. And what a moment for Lando Norris. Another podium for him. That's another memorable weekend. But he's shown that he can do it in these tough conditions, the young boy. And he's absolutely nailed it. Leclerc fourth, Sainz fifth. As they finish in the top five. We're still waiting for the others to finish. It looks as though Mick Schumacher and Giovinazzi are done as well, because I'm not sure why, but the checkered flag are on them, even though they're not in the top 10.
Verstappen went, so.
Got you. So, yeah, Ricciardo 6th, Lance Stroll 7th, Gasly 8th, Raikkonen 9th, Ocon 10th. A good point there for Ocon. And Raikkonen in the top 10 as well. That's a good result for Alfa Romeo after a very poor qualifying. But what a win that is for Red Bull. And it's Lando Norris who gets the driver of the day. 32% of the vote, which, no surprise, was it, Jack?
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, look, Lando Norris has done an incredible job. Actually kept quite close to Lewis Hamilton in the end as well, even though Hamilton managed to pass him. Only finished about 1.7 seconds behind. So even with the soft tyres going off the cliff, as it were, and Hamilton being able to take him on that medium compound, managed to keep in touch with Hamilton in case there was any error from the 7-time world champion. But yeah, I think thoroughly deserved with his 32% of the vote for driver of the day. Did a fantastic job. Absolutely gutted in qualifying yesterday. So to get that podium place would have been great if he'd had a second place. But yeah, to get that third place on the podium is great for McLaren. And it's good that it's being a lot more consistent that McLaren now getting back on the podiums. Obviously had a couple last year, first of this year as well. So I hope it's the first of many to come for this race. But I have to give credit as well to Ferrari. I mean, 4th and 5th is a great result for them at their sort of one of their home Grand Prix. And then interesting at the bottom as well, Esteban Ocon beats Fernando Alonso to get the last point of the race. But yeah, great result. And just to point on Sebastian Vettel, it was a gearbox issue that had to retire from the race at the end there. It was getting worse and worse. So yeah, that's the reason why he was out.
Yeah, I've just seen Verstappen now. He's just gone out the car. He's taken the credit from his teammates. And, of course, it's a big win. And there's always that engineer with the braided hair in the background, which I don't know why I love him. He just seems to have a character. There's always one or two faces you see on the track and in the garage that we don't know the names of, but they clearly have a big part in the build of these cars and, of course, throughout the weekends of these races. But Lando Norris, as you'd expect, gets a massive applause from his teammates as well. What a weekend for Lando Norris. What a recovery, especially on those soft tyres, Jack.
Yeah, no, great result. I think for both McLarens, actually, it's a good result. From the chat as well, Bryce said Ricciardo doing well considering being on the soft tyres. I think both McLarens, considering they were on the soft tyres at the end, did an amazing job. So yeah, looking at the chat as well. Yes, Max. Thanks guys for the enjoying coverage. Thank you very much, Johan. Keep up the good work. Off to Portugal. Yeah, so we'll be looking forward to that.
Is he off to Portugal? I'd love to know.
If he is, yeah, I'd love some tickets, Johan. So yeah, let us know. Well done, Lando, in the chat as well. Obviously, Applecore meant to do Mazepin. 3 laps down, he looked to be technically. So yeah, not great for Mazepin, again spinning as well. Lewis fastest lap, yep. So Lewis Hamilton gets the fastest lap, and like Jamie said, he is now 1 point ahead of Max Verstappen. So it is getting quite close to the top line. I know we're only 2 races in and we've got a lot to go, but that's what we want to see throughout the rest of the season. So yeah, well done, McLaren. Lando, the one to watch this year. Yeah, Bryce, well, we're hoping that McLaren in general are the ones to watch. Luca says Ferrari were decent. Yes, they were. So did Johan. Ferrari, well done. Yamato, good recovery from Lewis. Yes, it was. Considering, like Jamie said, it came up on the screen that it was another DNF for Lewis Hamilton. He managed to save it and get second place. So yeah, that's what Jamie mentioned earlier, in the sense that if you're Max Verstappen, you can't put anything on the sense that Lewis Hamilton is going to retire from the race or lose points, because even in them situations, he's there and he finishes in second. Max Verstappen must be gutted when he must have been told on the team radio, it looks like Lewis is out, and there he is on the podium with him.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's funny, some of these knee pads that they have. It's the equivalent of shin pads in football. You just got to wear them.
Yeah.
The Constructors' Championship, Mercedes are 7 points ahead of Red Bull. But, I mean, that's the... In a way, Red Bull have got away with it today, Jack, because of Bottas not being able to finish.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think it's actually a good recovery from Mercedes because you look at it. Yes, Bottas was out with that big incident with George Russell, which again will be something that gets mentioned after. But actually, for Mercedes, it was only Max Verstappen that got the points, and obviously Lewis got the fastest lap as well, so kept them close. But Perez not getting in the points really didn't help Red Bull's charge.
We're just going to hear the race reactions from the top three.
But you had a wonderful run down to the first corner and the original start to take the lead.
Yeah, I was surprised myself. I mean, last year we've been struggling a little bit off the line, but I think we worked really hard to make that better. And already, because you saw it in Bahrain, but now in these tricky conditions, I think we did a great job.
Well done. Lewis just took the fastest lap towards the end, so he's still a point ahead of you in the World Championship. But you're right back in now.
Yeah, but it's a long season.
Absolutely.
So stay calm.
Congratulations. Stay calm indeed. Wow, Lewis, where do we start on that race? I mean, congratulations for bringing it back in second place.
Thank you. Well, first, congratulations to Max. He did a fantastic job today, and just solid work from him, and also to Lando. What an awesome job, and so great to see McLaren back up there. On my side, it was not the greatest of days. So the first time I've made a mistake in a long time, but I'm grateful I was able to bring the car home still.
Well, take us through that little error at Toza. You were passing some lapped cars.
Yeah, so there was only one dry line, and I guess in a bit too much of a hurry to get by everyone, and I came onto the inside and I could see it was wet, and I was trying to stop, but the thing wouldn't stop, and it sent me off, and a bit unfortunate, but I'm really, really grateful that we got to get going again, and that's, to get some points for the team was really important.
So during the red flag break, did you ever imagine you'd actually still be leading the World Championship and you'd finish second?
I wasn't thinking about it. I was just trying to get over the gutting kind of feeling it is when you make a mistake, and just moving on from it and just learning from it real quick, and you don't have time to dwell on it, so that's what I did. Get back into racing spirit, and yeah, I didn't know whether or not we'd be able to overtake, because again offline was going to be wet, but still had some really good fun battles with all the guys.
Great race, great drive, thank you.
Yeah, here he is, Mr. Lando Norris.
Lando on the podium again, second time. Whoa, that was you were really having to defend hard, but your pace was so strong.
Thanks. I'm happy. I think a nice recovery after yesterday. It was a long race, a tough one, but I didn't start so well. It was a tough start, but I came back through. I had good pace. I tried hanging on to second, but Lewis was a bit too quick for me today. So it's nice to be fighting these guys. It's nice to be there on merit and there on pure pace, and hopefully you can have some more in the future.
Yeah, well, you were with Lewis in your mirrors. You kept your head. There's a lot of pressure there, and you were talking about a bit of clutch slip, but you were managing a few things.
That was just my knee pad was hitting my clutch paddle, so it was my own mistake. But we opted to go on the softs for the restart. And I had good pace in the first 10-15 laps, but I knew I was going to struggle a lot towards the end, especially with Lewis behind me. It was not going to be an easy one, but I tried. I held on for 2 or 3 or 4 laps, but in the end I just couldn't hang on. But I'm happy with third. I'm not disappointed.
Well, the fans appreciated it. They voted you driver of the day.
They did?
They did.
I didn't think I had any fans, but thank you very much.
Of course.
I didn't know I had any fans. Get out. You know that. You know that. Those are your post-race reactions from the top 3 before they go onto the podium, and we will, of course, go more into depth of the race in just a few minutes' time, as we just watch the podiums now. Who doesn't love the podium? It's the best part, especially when. Who remembers back when Ferrari would win all the time, and all you'd get was simple, you'd always get the Italian and German national anthem. You got to a point you think, I know these songs off by heart now. This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, people would say that about the British and the German this time round, though, for Lewis and Mercedes.
Yeah, they certainly would. Anyway, we will have our mate Connor Porter joining us in just a bit. And then he will join us in our race reaction. So do let us know, folks, on the live chat page, who was your driver of the day? Let us know. Even though Lando Norris was voted as driver of the day on the online polls, we want to hear yours. Give us a shout on who you think should have been driver of the day, if not Lando Norris. If it was Lando Norris, of course, do share that as well. I think for me, I would definitely pick him, but not Perez, that's for sure. In my Mexican shirt, I may have to change my shirt after this, but oh well. So just watching the podium now. Actually, I'll get the sound back on because you can't beat the national anthems.
Might go for a wee way, doing
Oh no, Crofty's speaking. Nothing wrong with Crofty, but we don't pay him. In the meantime, folks, do subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the F1 race watch along today.
Formula One career.
Oh, which national anthem is this that's dragging on a little bit?
It is the Netherlands, isn't it? I actually don't know the Netherlands national anthem. No, it's not. No, it's not.
The Austrian, is it? I think.
Yeah, it will be. You're right, because of Red Bull.
So once upon a time, Max
There we go. So that's the podium, national anthems and all that celebration is happening there, and the trophy's just being presented to the top three drivers. And what they've done is that because the people who normally give the trophies to the drivers, they're actually below the podium, and they've just put a camera shot of them instead, and then it says who the trophy's being presented by, even though it's not being given out by them. Okay. This is random. This is very, very random. But COVID restrictions have, of course, made sure we can't do even the normal things or the traditional things in Formula One. I actually watched the Formula E last week, and it was the same there as well, where they would just stand on the side and not be able to give out the trophies. Instead, they'd have to pick it up on the place next to them. So anyway, the trophies have been presented for Verstappen, Hamilton and Norris, and I think the champagne's about to come out. Of course, they can drink there, not like Bahrain where is it rose water or something like that? Yeah, and here it comes the champagne. There we go. And it looks as though Norris doesn't want to use up his because he's thinking, look, I really want to drink this tonight and I don't want to use it all because I don't get the chance. Oh, no. He's hit the bottle on the step and he's giving it a right go now. At least he didn't do a Stoffel Van Dorn and smash the bottle last week or the week before. in Formula E, which is why he's an FE driver, not an F1 driver, because he can't even get the basics right. Which, in my eyes, Formula E is the reject version of F1 drivers. But that's just my thoughts. So anyway, that has concluded the race. So Max Verstappen getting his first race win of the season, in which was a dramatic race in Imola. Let's hope Imola comes back next year just for another race like that. But we always remember Valencia, the European Grand Prix, had terrible races, boring races, up until its final year of the contract in 2012. And typically, it was a good race. So that does happen now and again. So hopefully, we'll see Imola again very, very soon. Anyway, let's talk about the race in general, though. Let's go into proper analysis now. Connor Porter is on the screen, but he's somewhere. Can he hear us? I don't know. There he is. Hey, where's your McLaren cap? There it is. Put it on. Put it on. It's been a good day for them. There we go. Oh, can we hear you? Is he? Oh, there we go. There we go. How are you, Connor? That was a race, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a typical wet race in all. It came out into a dry one in the end, but as you expect for a wet race, whole incidences happening all the time. Remind me of all the German Grand Prix in that last year. That contract there, that was a crazy wet race. I think it's probably been the last wet race, if I remember correctly.
I think it. Yeah, we haven't had many, have we?
It was a wet race as well because Bottas. I remember. Yeah. But it's a great race in my opinion. It'll be interesting to see how pivotal of in the season will it be for Hamilton to get that second place. You know, that recovery drive from him was a lot of determination by him to get back into second place. So when we look back at the end of the season, will we look back on this race and think this was the spot where Hamilton stayed in the title hunt, or would this be an instance of it didn't really matter really in the long run what happened, and Lewis Hamilton went on to win. But I think from as far as what we've seen so far in the season, it looks as though it is going to be an exchanging of wins between Red Bull and Mercedes and Verstappen and Hamilton until the very end of the season. So it'd be interesting to see how much this pays off. And then of course Lando Norris at McLaren. Like I said in the live chat, the speed from McLaren today just looked fantastic, and we saw it in qualifying as well, how well Norris did before his lap time got deleted, and it was amplified today with his performance on the track. And I'm sure he would have enjoyed that podium a lot more than the one that he got in Austria last season. Because if you think back to the Austria Grand Prix, their podium was on the track, and it was just little stands. So
which was weird, wasn't it? I don't know why they couldn't still do that, because they were still doing the steps and all that. I'm glad they're doing it now.
This one's in the grandstand or wherever it is at the Imola circuit. It will feel a lot more special, I think, to Lando as well, because of the great drive that he's had today. And he had a great drive in the Austria one as well. But the setting of it too, I think will be a bit more appreciative too. Given the fact that his lap time was deleted in qualifying as well, and he's managed to demonstrate it today with a fantastic drive. So yeah, absolutely. Onwards and upwards. It's an interesting watch.
Absolutely. It's funny, Jack, because I remember, I think it was when it was 2016 Malaysia, when Hamilton had that moment, when that probably summed up the championship going towards Nico Rosberg, because there was only a few races to go. And obviously Hamilton's famous team radio of, oh, no, and his just car completely backed up. Isn't it funny? I mean, I don't know how many retirements he's had since then, but I feel like ever since that race, Hamilton has proven to be solid, where even if he has a moment on the track, he will somehow pick himself up and still at least finish the race, regardless of wherever he finishes, which, as long as you get in the points, it's better than having zero either way when it all tallies up at the end of the season.
Absolutely. I think there might be only one race between that one with Nico Rosberg in 2016 and now, and I think it was both cars with DNFs in Austria. Can't remember what year it was, but both Mercedeses were out within a couple of laps of themselves, I think, in Austria for one of the race. I want to say like 2018 or something. But if anyone's got any points in the chat, let us know. But I'm pretty sure that might be one of the only times that Lewis Hamilton's had a DNF. And yeah, look, I think it's been demoralising for Bottas over the last 2 years that, you know, even if Lewis Hamilton drops down the order, he still manages to recover. And again, I think Max Verstappen's got it this year. You know, you look at it, and you said it during the race that, you know, you can't rely on Lewis Hamilton having a bad race where he doesn't get any points at all. Even a bad race or an incident for Lewis Hamilton, he still manages to claw his way back up and get points. And exactly here, not only did he get second place, but he got fastest lap as well. So, you know, Max Verstappen, you know, didn't even get that far away from him. He's, you know, Lewis Hamilton is still now a point ahead of him going into the third round in Portugal. So, yeah, it's gonna you know, really tell. But I think also interestingly is the sense that both the second drivers, and I'm going to say second drivers for both Mercedes and Red Bull, didn't score any points. Bottas had an incident with George Russell during the race, which obviously caused that red flag incident. And Sergio Perez had that sort of spin into the gravel once the race restarted, and he didn't get into the points either. So both second drivers for both teams, you know, didn't get points. So
I think, I mean, I remember as well, Sebastian Vettel in 2012 had that moment in Brazil where he spun at the start, and this was the final race for him and Alonso to go for the championship. And it just showed then Vettel, even though he was on the opposite view of the track, he still turned up and got the place he needed to win the championship in the rain in Brazil. So we have seen these world champions show how solid they can be. But Connor, for Lewis Hamilton as well, it was weird because when he didn't really crash, did he? He kind of hit the barrier a little bit, which was a bit of looked like a basic mistake. He was stood still, then he went forward, then he realised, oh, there's a barrier there, and then his front wing damaged and he had to get it changed. But it was really weird how he just was there for ages trying to figure out what to do, and then it just reverses and then it works.
Yeah,
maybe everyone else should try that.
I was watching the Sky Sports commentary, and Crofty said, "Oh, Hamilton was looking for the reverse gear and accidentally went into first." I was like, "Yeah, 7-time world champion accidentally went into first instead of reverse." I mean, you know, yeah, sure, okay, let's go with that. But to emphasize on what Jack said about the red flag incident, that really helped out Lewis today because it was immediately following that incident where he went into the gravel trap there, the collision between Russell and Bottas. So, you know, what would have happened for Hamilton if Bottas and Russell didn't come together then? Would have he still been able to perform as well as he did, or would it have been a case of he would have had to settle with minimum points possible, you know, barely getting into the top 10 or whatnot? It's difficult to say. Because of just how well the Mercedes car can perform on any given weekend. So that will be one to take into consideration looking forward, you know. And, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, therefore, because of that collision, it was a bit of luck that Hamilton got into the position that he did today. But it really wasn't, because of just how well he performs on any given wet race, you know.
Yeah.
Turkey itself, as we were talking about, the last time that there was a wet race, and you know he I think, if I remember correctly, he won that race after a performance of arguably one of his best performances of career. So it's something to consider, but I don't think it was down to luck for Hamilton today. I think it was pure skill that he got himself into the position that he did, and
especially with that track, there was no guarantee, was there? You know, for anyone.
I mean, just look at all the other drivers that had their incidents today on the track. You know, you already mentioned Perez, and we had, of course, Latifi crashing into the wall, and the Russell, Bottas, and we had Mick Schumacher having an incident near the pit lane, and Nikita Mazepin spinning out as well. So
that's basic, isn't it, for him these days? What's going on with that kid?
But there's so many different incidences that you it's difficult to point it down to luck, and that's why I just feel as though it was a great recovery drive from Lewis Hamilton today. But you can't, as well, at the same time, you can't take any credit away from Max Verstappen. You know, he had his own incidences where it looked as though he might have lost it, you know, before the restart, where he almost span out and just luckily caught it before the likes of Leclerc and the rest of the field caught up to him. But it was just a brilliant drive from Verstappen. But I think in the back of his mind, he'll be a little bit annoyed that Lewis Hamilton was still there next to him after everything that happened in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, reminds me of Vettel and Alonso in Abu Dhabi when Vettel started at the back of the grid, and yet Alonso wins the... No, he didn't win the race, but he saw Vettel next to him on the podium. He's like, oh, for God's sake. Why? Why do you do this? But yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that this is the thing where as long as Max Verstappen got his race win, he couldn't do anything about the rest of the track. And I think for him, he'll just be relieved that they've got an early race win within 2 races of the season. Let's go through the leaderboard, folks, and after that I'll ask you both for your driver of the day. Of course, if anyone is wondering who the official driver of the day was, it was Lando Norris. He actually wears the same cap as Connor. He picked up Connor's fashion there and nicked it, so we want to get that cap back. Thank you, Lando. I don't know where I'm going with this. So just a confirmation of your podium. So you've got Max Verstappen winning the Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton second, which, of course, the leaderboard you're seeing in front of us says that Lewis Hamilton has gone down a position from the start of the race. If you've missed the race, it's been a lot more than that. Lando Norris third. He went up from 4 places, so of course, what a drive from him. Charles Leclerc fourth, which I think, Jack, that's quite solid for Leclerc, because we're seeing a Ferrari that we don't really know what we're getting out of it for this season, because they've said that they're going to be more competitive in the seasons coming up. And with Charles Leclerc getting fourth after starting the race in fourth, I think that's quite solid from Leclerc. And he had moments on the top 3 anyway.
Yeah, no, we've had some. It's been a good race for both. Like we said, Carlos Sainz had an issue yesterday. She didn't get into Q3, so basically disappointed with that. But made up 6 places, as you can see on the standings on the screen. And finished 4th and 5th. It's been in the chat as well. I've been looking at the chat while they've been going through, and people have been talking about Ferrari, and just saying 4th and 5th. So yeah, it's a great result for Ferrari actually at one of their home Grand Prix tracks. So yeah, I think they'll be pretty pleased with that. And I think obviously McLaren have done a good points haul as well. But you look at the others around the likes of McLaren and Ferrari with AlphaTauri and Aston Martin. Stroll manages to get into the points as well as Pierre Gasly. But again, I would say, because I mentioned this in one of the videos I did about that both AlphaTauri and Aston Martin maybe needed to show a bit more because they underperformed in Bahrain. I think, again, that they haven't really gone to that next level that they should be challenging with the likes of Ferrari and McLaren. I mean, yeah, okay, Stroll was pushing Daniel Ricciardo at the end, but I think that was more down to Ricciardo being on the softs than it was maybe outright pace. So, I think both AlphaTauri and Aston Martin do have some work to do. But yeah, in terms of McLaren and Ferrari, a great result once again.
Absolutely. And his teammate Carlos Sainz went up 6 places because he had terrible qualifying, Connor, by not making it into Q3.
Yeah, Sainz, difficult start to his Ferrari career. He said a couple of times now in interviews that he's kind of like taking it slowly and adjusting a bit slower than what I presume he would like to. But this is a drive that he'll be proud of today. Climbing up from 11th to 5th and getting those key points that Ferrari will want to try and finish third in the constructors. Because I don't think Ferrari, as you said, will be looking ahead to Red Bull and Mercedes and challenging them. They'll be thinking, if we can finish third, then that's good enough. But of course, Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris are there as well as the outer bread of that Ferrari sandwich. So it's basically
I've got a sandwich right in front of me, which I'm looking forward to eating.
I think those 4 drivers are going to be the main ones now that we see contesting for anything between 3rd all the way down to like 7th or 8th throughout the majority of the season. I don't think we'll see much more from that because of the performances really of Ferrari and McLaren in qualifying and the race today. I think that's more than enough for me to think that the midfield, as much as we want to think it will be competitive with the likes of AlphaTauri and Aston Martin being in there, I just think McLaren and Ferrari are a step ahead of them right now. Especially the fact that Aston Martin are going to the FIA about the aero packages and trying to sort that out. It's a clear indication that they are behind from where they would like to be. So therefore, I think it's going to be between McLaren and Ferraris to third in the constructors. And certainly today, All 4 drivers have demonstrated that skill, and they've shown that they've got the quality in order to get it done. So it makes it exciting, really, outside of the usual battle at the top. That we've now got this interesting second battle between McLaren and Ferrari to bite into throughout the majority of the season,
which we miss, because that Ferrari McLaren rivalry, it's been a good 2008 was the last time we saw it with them near each other at the top. We'd love to see that again soon, hopefully in maybe next year, who knows, because McLaren look great at the moment, that's for sure. Speaking of McLaren, Daniel Ricciardo 6, which, Jane, if you're still watching, he hasn't improved, but he hasn't gone downwards either, so it's not been a bad race for Daniel Ricciardo. He'll be chuffed for Lando Norris, I'm sure, for getting a podium, and I think for McLaren that's quite solid, because if Ferrari are going to get their 2 drivers in front of the McLarens, at least Ricciardo was following them afterwards. Lance Stroll up by 3 places and finishes 7th for Aston Martin, which, Jack, Lance Stroll has proven that at the moment he could be their number 1 priority over Vettel. And again, of course, it helps when you have a dad that has the team.
Yeah, I know. I say for the last few years that's sort of we've been using for Lance Stroll, but I'd say last year or like the latter part of last year, Lance Stroll actually was impressing me more as a driver. We weren't just talking about and going, oh, he's only there for blah 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 reasons. I think he was actually highlighting that there is some talent in him
he was solid last season, I thought.
Yeah, and I think he's taken that mantle again. And I think actually it's actually made him better that he's now being compared to a 4-time world champion of Sebastian Vettel, and I think they both had brake issues at the start, and there was an issue for, like you said, for Vettel's gearbox, which means he had to retire before the race finished. But I think Lance Stroll is actually putting in some solid performances, was close to Daniel Ricciardo at the end of the race, so was a possibility that he could take 6th position. But yeah, they're obviously having them issues, like Connor said, with the FIA and meetings, and you can see like Lawrence Stroll strutting into the FIA boxes and wanting to have some meetings. He always looks like that Bond villain, doesn't he? Like he's wandering in, trying to get everything to go his way. But that's what makes him a great businessman. So no, look, overall, I think it's a solid result for Aston Martin and Lance Stroll. But yeah, I think it does highlight to them that they've still got a way to go to catch up to Ferrari and McLaren.
Pierre Gasly, well, he had an interesting race. He went off the track a couple of times, but ended up finishing 8th after starting the race in 5th place, which was a pace not many expected from AlphaTauri in qualifying. But I think for Gasly, it's still a good performance from him. Of course, we'll talk about the driver that's technically got his seat, which is Sergio Perez, in just a bit, but at least he got points today, and here I am wearing a Mexican shirt, which doesn't help me out at all. It's like wearing a brand that isn't working. Anyway, Kimi Räikkönen up 7 places. Connor, it's funny, Kimi Räikkönen, that's the one person no one talked about today. He's just silently gone up into the points as he does.
Yeah, I think everyone from Kimi downwards, Esteban Ocon as well, and Fernando Alonso, I think all those guys kind of benefited from the George Russell and Valtteri Bottas collision. They all moved up spots, and in essence, it gave. I think this is first points on the season for Alpine with Esteban Ocon.
Yeah, I think it is.
10th.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I think Ocon finished 11th in the last race, didn't he? And Alonso retired.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about Alfa Romeo either, but it certainly is a fantastic drive from Kimi, as you would expect from a world champion, and driving well in the wet as well. Nothing more than expected really from Kimi, and he'll be happy to get the points there. And then Pierre Gasly, in the AlphaTauri car, that's the only car I think that might be able to challenge with the likes of McLaren and Ferrari, but at the moment it's looking a bit difficult. I can't quite pinpoint as to what the issue is with AlphaTauri. Obviously, it's a bit different situation for Tsunoda today. I think he just struggled a little bit of driving in the wet. But for Gasly, I'm not too sure as to why his performance dropped from 5th to 8th. I don't know if Jack's seen something that I didn't in that instance, but I'm not too sure about Gasly. But the AlphaTauri car has shown in qualifying that it can be good. because of the fact that Gasly started in 5th. So it's a challenging car. I just don't know why it went wrong for Gasly in the race today. So
yeah, it's a strange one, but I think he'll take it. Kimi Räikkönen though, yeah, what a guy! He just keeps doing. I'm sure when they ask him afterwards, he'll just go blah, and then that'll be it. That'll be your transcription. So yeah, Esteban Ocon 10th, but of course a point for him. While his teammate Fernando Alonso didn't get any, he finished 11th, but he improved it from 15th, which he had a poor qualifying session yesterday. He got into Q2, but that was it really from Fernando Alonso. But let's talk about this one. Sergio Perez. Jack, I think that's an opportunity missed for Red Bull because Bottas didn't finish, so the Constructors' Championship would have been very interesting. The gap could have been quite nice for Red Bull if Perez had at least been in the top 4, I'd say.
I mean, when we went to that red flag and the race was suspended, we said, during that time when we had a bit to talk about, that we were like, well, if Perez has taken that penalty during the pit stop, and we weren't sure whether he had or not, but if he had, it would have been 4th place comfortably, and they could only go from strength there. So it looked good, as they restarted the race with Verstappen first and Perez in 4th position. But yeah, he just had that incident where I think he just touched a part of the wet track on the dry compound tires and just went into the gravel. And yeah, did he go from like 4th to 14th or something straight away? And, I mean, not great. And like I said, I jokingly said during the race that Alex Albon would be laughing because they brought in Perez to be that number 2 or to be that extra driver to get them more points during the season. And there's Perez running around with scoring no points. So yeah, it's obviously disappointing. Perez mentioned yesterday that he is still trying to adapt to the car, still struggling. He's not at 100%. It takes him longer to dial up the laps. And say Q1 and Q2 wasn't really there and had to try and deliver in Q3. So Perez has still got a way to go, I think, to be at his best at Red Bull. But yeah, it's not great for them considering, like I said, they could have capitalised on Bottas being out and only having Hamilton in the race. But yeah, sadly for Red Bull, that wasn't the case. Great that they got the win, but yeah, not great that they didn't have extra points going into Portugal for the constructors.
I think, Connor, is there a worry there for Perez at all? Because it was all down to him with those mistakes at the end. And would Christian Horner be giving him a bit of a tough talk afterwards? I know the race was a bit unpredictable today, but I think Perez just needed to at least get top 5 for me.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, really. Like you can have some forgiveness because it is a wet race and a lot of things can happen, but at the same time, as Jack said, Perez has been brought in to be a wingman essentially for Max Verstappen in his title charge, and he did that perfectly in Bahrain, but it's not happened here in Imola. Even in a promising position of second, it's not played well. It's still a long season to go, and Max Verstappen was still able to do his bit and finishing first and keep Lewis at bay. But it'll be something to watch throughout the majority of the season now to see if this is more of a common trend for Perez, or if this was just a little bit of a red mark really on the season overall, and it's not really something to be concerned about. I think more of the latter. I don't think it's really something to be concerned about for Perez because of how well we've seen him drive, especially in the last 12 months as well, with him getting his first win at the Shakira Grand Prix, I think it was, last season. So yeah, it's I think it's just more of a one-off for Perez, but we'll have to wait and see throughout the rest of the season as to how it unfolds.
Yeah, you're right, Connor. I mean, it's that reminder to us all that it's only the second race of a 23 race calendar.
P2 yesterday as well, didn't he, in qualifying? So.
You see, that was a surprise. I mean, though he got it on the softs as well. So yeah, it was, of course, the rain sadly happened today, and that kind of blew his chances a little. But even so, it was not the way Perez wanted it to end after all of that. Sonado 13th, Giovinazzi 14th, another driver we didn't really talk about much today. Sebastian Vettel, though, let's talk about him because, Jack, is Vettel... Could this be Vettel's... I don't know. I just feel as though Vettel's I know it's only been 2 races, but I just feel with this German driver, we are seeing why Ferrari had to let him go.
I think it's a combination of factors for Sebastian Vettel. I think going into testing, everyone had great hopes. The car launched, the car looked great.
Yeah.
And then into testing, and Aston Martin maybe weren't where we all thought they were going to be. Reliability had an issue in testing, and so yeah, they weren't on to the great start when they went to the actual Bahrain race weekend. And then Sebastian Vettel had that issue and crashed into Ocon, I think, and yeah, it wasn't a great first race. Looked okay during practice, but again, they just don't look up to speed to save Ferrari and McLaren, like Connor mentioned. And yeah, beaten by his teammate again. Like you said, Lance Stroll beat him at Bahrain. I wouldn't say it's sort of like the beginning of the end for Sebastian Vettel yet. I think if the car can keep improving during the season, and Vettel obviously gets used to the team a bit more, I think it can get better. But it's obviously not the start that Vettel or Aston Martin would have wanted. I think they would want him competing a bit more alongside Lance Stroll already. But like we said, Lance Stroll has improved, and he is looking the better driver out of the two at the minute. So if any upgrades came, like the old Seb Vettel, Mark Webber days, when the upgrades come, they're going to give it to Lance Stroll this time round instead of Sebastian Vettel at the minute.
Poor Vettel. He'll know what it was like to be Mark Webber.
Did Vettel get a finish in the end?
No, sorry, he didn't. No,
he DNF'd. Yeah, he went to the pit.
But he was that quick, Connor, that the Hasses, as we're going to talk about them, couldn't even finish above him on the leaderboard, which, I mean, Connor Haas, I know, again, it's only been 2 races, but when it's been more than 1 race and we're seeing similar results from the bottom teams, I mean, Williams could have got points today.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a clear indication, a lot of us, especially after some of the comments that were coming out of the Haas team over the preseason, that they were saying they were not going to be doing any improvements to the car over the duration of the year, and what they got after, I think it was after this race, the car that they had now, that's it for the rest of the season. And even after 2 races, we kind of already know where Haas are going to finish, and that is pretty much going to be dead last, unfortunately, for them.
Rock bottom.
And as you said, we thought they would be battling against Williams, but Williams showed in qualifying that they've got the potential. George Russell had a fantastic drive today until he crashed into Bottas in that incident there, and Latifi, he got into Q2, I think, for the first time in his career.
He did, over
the weekend.
Yeah.
So there's great drive over the weekend from Williams. Just unfortunate circumstances, didn't see any of their cars finish. So it's just looking like one of those situations for Haas now, that the only way that they can improve is potentially just by battling against one another, and just see what Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin can do on the track themselves. Because Williams look like they're ahead of them, not essentially in another battle further up the field, but ahead of Haas constantly now, I think, throughout the majority of each session. And I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the season if Williams get a couple of points underneath them, to hopefully, give them a bit of confidence moving forward, because certainly they've done a lot on the track this season so far. Already mentioned about the qualifying from Russell and Latifi. So there's potential there for Williams to go on and to bag some points this season, which is a good sign for Williams after what's happened for them over the past couple of years, with them being, not so great in the points table.
We'll talk about the Bottas and Russell incident in just a moment, but quickly, lads, there was someone, I think it was Alex, who messaged us in the live chat page yesterday during qualifying, which was suggesting, could Haas go in for Nico Hülkenberg if Mazepin's season does get really bad? He is back on the F1 circuit, Hülkenberg. He's one of the reserve drivers for Aston Martin. That got announced after the Bahrain Grand Prix. Do any of you fear for Mazepin? Because to spin like that again, he did it twice at least this weekend, after he did it at least twice in the first race. And Steiner has come out before this weekend to say he's thinking too much about his racing, maybe. But at some point, he can say all that, but it's whether or not he takes it on board.
I think in the instance with Mazepin, it's Gunther Steiner has already said that, you know, he's still very much learning. Of course, he's still a rookie, and he's got to, you know, sometimes you've got to make the mistakes in order to become a better driver. And certainly that's what's happening to Mazepin in this situation there. And obviously, you know, I think his dad's a key sponsor for the team as well. So I think that plays into the situation as well. So I don't think we'll see any sort of driver changes in that instance there. But you know, like I said, I think the battle for Haas is just between two drivers themselves, between Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin, and just I think that's the only way that they can improve is by putting them against one another and just to see who can perform better on the track each day. So,
what do you think about that, Jack?
Yeah, honestly, if any driver is going to go for Haas, it would be Mick Schumacher over Mazepin, simply because of the amount of money that Mazepin's sponsors are bringing in. That team has basically got all the sponsors that he's brought in. I mean, I think 1&1's are German websites. I think Mick Schumacher has brought that income in, you know, being signed.
Also, a Dortmund sponsor.
We saw that on Drive to Survive when they were meeting. Gunther Steiner was meeting the sort of businesses, and they said, "Well, we'll sign if you bring in a German driver." So I think that was basically that meeting.
Oh,
really. So,
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, if any driver was going to go, it probably would be Schumacher. Even though, you know, on track it would be Mazepin, simply because he can't keep it on the track at the minute. Yeah, look, I don't think there would be any changes. Haas have said they're not upgrading, so it is going to be a battle between themselves. And as two young drivers, you need to beat your teammate. And at the minute, Mick Schumacher's doing the better job. Obviously, Mazepin had an accident on the first corner or the second corner of the first race in Bahrain. And obviously I think he finished like a minute behind Schumacher in the end, or 40 seconds or something.
Something like that.
That in
quite
itself,
crazy.
that in itself isn't great. But yeah, that's just what they need to do at Haas. They need to, you know, battle against each other. And I think they said it yesterday. Gunther Steiner said it yesterday. I could spend 5 million this year to do upgrades, but I would get nowhere closer. We'd still be end at the back, and then that money would be wasted, and we could have used it for 2022. So he's right in the sense that they might as well just keep all the money and invest it into next year when there's more chance of getting further up the grid.
Yeah, and the conditions today as well, the fact that it was a wet race, it was difficult for a lot of drivers out there today. We saw a lot of drivers lose control. So it's not just down to the inexperience of Mazepin that I think the reason why he spun today. You know, a lot of drivers were struggling out there. So
just to clarify that the fastest lap was Lewis Hamilton's, and it was a 1:16.702, and that was on the last lap from Lewis Hamilton. As we always see that, don't we? We always say a late fastest lap. It's like a late goal in football. It just comes out of nowhere, these bonus points. And it was weird seeing Vettel have a couple of moments of being fastest lap, because it was so early on, you didn't expect him to. But when he did it a second time, you're like, hang on a minute, how come you're so fast now and again, but you can't even overtake anyone? F1, eh? But what the hell? Let's talk about something that was very interesting, and of course it made this race be delayed to the end. And that was the incident between Valtteri Bottas and George Russell. Now, what happened was, from what I remember, it was Bottas trying to... I never thought I'd say this, Connor, and that was a Williams is trying to overtake a Mercedes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And the fact that Bottas, you know, he was going to lose that spot, and then Russell, of course, goes on the outside. Looked like he was on the wet part of the track. And then, of course, both cars collide. And then there we are, waiting for the race to restart for at least a quarter of an hour afterwards, with all that debris all over the place. And it looked as though Russell and Bottas had a few words straight after the crash and were not happy with what happened. So what's your verdict on it?
Yeah, from what I watched, there was a great angle from Kimi Räikkönen's top of his car. He was right behind the pair as they were going in towards that first corner. You know, the same corner where Verstappen and Hamilton had their collision in the first lap. But this time around, it was on the approach to the corner itself. Of course, George Russell, as you mentioned, I think he was in the DRS, so he had that extra speed catching up to the Mercedes. And Bottas's case would be that he was defending position and going towards the racing line, and that's why he was moving over to the right. But George would say, well, I'm already level with his back tire, so therefore he must give me space. So, you know, it's to and fro. And then you got George Russell, his car catching his tires on his car catching the grass, so therefore he loses traction and loses control, and that's why he glided into the side of him and the resulting crash that followed from it. So there's a lot of factors to consider into it. So it's difficult to pinpoint exactly who is at fault. I think both drivers have a part to play into the collision itself, which is why I don't think there'll be any serious repercussions to come from this. It's just maybe potentially just a learning curve, I think, from both drivers, really.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes forward. Of course, this is probably going to cost Bottas more than what it costs Russell, because of the fact that Bottas will consider himself still more in the title hunt. But, you know, especially after both Lewis and Max Verstappen now finishing in the top two of the last two races, whereas Bottas, I think, only finished third in the first race, but now he's got 0 points from this one. He's way behind now in the hunt. So it'll be something that Bottas considers going forward as to, do I really want to be challenging these guys in these incidences here in, you know, the middle part of a race, or should I just let them pass and try and take them later when I know the Mercedes car's got the confidence to drive past them?
Yeah.
Similar to what happened to Hamilton later on in the race, where he drove up from, I think it was 9th after his pit stop all the way to second. So, you know, it's something to consider, I think, going forward. But in terms of, you know, pinning the blame on anyone for this particular crash, I think they both got a part to play in it. So
yeah, what do you think, Jack? Because you said your thoughts earlier, but have you changed your mind? Have you seen anything since? Or
yeah, the first instance, I thought it was George Russell, just because he touched the grass on the way round and obviously caused the spin which crashed into Bottas. But when you, like you said, when you look at the replay from what Connor said on board with Raikkonen, it looks like Bottas goes to the right a bit more, which causes Russell to go further right, hitting the grass, and then, you know, they both have the incident. So I would say Bottas obviously is looking, like he said, to defend the position going into the first turn. But, you know, when they're going at that speed, you need to sort of judge it. And George Russell's put messages out. He's put, thanks for the messages, I'm fine, just disappointed. At the end of the day, it's an unfortunate incident. You're entitled to defend your position. But at the speed, you have to respect the speed and the conditions when doing so. Gutted for the team, deserves more. But what I can see also in here is they're saying that neither driver seems content to accept fault in the pen. Both are pretty sort of defending themselves in the post-race interview. And F1 have just put good luck to Toto Wolff trying to sort them out, with obviously Russell being part of the Mercedes family. Like I mentioned in the live stream itself, all of them are out of contract. So it's an interesting that 2 out of the 3 crashed into each other today.
Yeah, and especially with the fact that, you know, if Hamilton wants to go on to win an 8th title and, you know, decide, I'm going to retire, you know, I've done all I can in Formula One.
Which I think he will. I think he will.
It's one of the reasons why he's got a rolling contract now with Mercedes. He's not booking himself into a longer future term, whereas I think Bottas has got a multi-year contract deal, and George Russell's deal is over at the end of the year, but he's very much expected to stay on with Mercedes. It'll be an interesting pairing to see Bottas now and Russell, because we thought, you know, after the Bahrain Grand Prix last season, we thought, Shakir Grand Prix last season, we thought, okay, these 2 drivers might be able to get along at Mercedes. It looks perfectly fine, but after today, no chance at all. It's going to be interesting.
I think today's another evidence we've picked up from one event in F1 between the 2, where I think George Russell's a better driver than Bottas. You know, Russell should have, well, I'm not going to say should have, but he could have won the Sakir Grand Prix, which we all know, if it wasn't for the mechanical, he would have at least got podium. And that would have been a great moment for him. In his first ever appearance in a Mercedes, you know, within days being told, oh, Hamilton's sick, you've got to take his seat. It's like, oh shit, big moment for me. And he nailed it until that big mechanical problem. And, you know, he overtook Bottas, didn't he, in that Sakir Grand Prix on his way to getting to that race win. And we've seen today with a Williams car, which, okay, as you say, Connor, if maybe Bottas played the long game and thought, I will overtake him if I just let him pass here. And, of course, the Mercedes is a lot more powerful. But, you know, George Russell's pushing, and I said this last night on the qualifying, which was, he's punching above his weight with a shit car. Now, it's like what Alonso was like with the McLaren, with that McLaren Honda, which is, if you see a driver make a car look good that is completely crap, okay, the Williams is a lot better this year than it was last year, but we've seen that from George Russell, and I just think we are seeing someone who's more capable than what Bottas ever has been at Mercedes.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you on most of those points there. You know, George
and we
Russell,
never agree.
yeah, especially about certain topics revolving around Manchester United, but we'll leave that for another time. Yeah, George Russell's shown his quality in this Williams car so far this season. You know, great qualifying performance and great drive until the incident today. So, yeah, he's shown a lot of good quality, and it'll be interesting to see. Just, I think Williams will get a couple of points this season just solely because of how well George Russell's been driving, and obviously a few things may have to come their way as well because the Williams car isn't, you know, a good performing car on a track. But there's a lot of good points to take out of George Russell after the way he's performed so far this season.
Jack, that might have to be a theory that you have to do on your Pole Position podcast channel, which is 10 reasons why Russell is better than Bottas.
Yeah, which will hurt me because, like I've said for years, Bottas, every year I've said this could be Bottas's year, but when he keeps making mistakes like that, and it was the qualifying ultimately that messed him up for the race. Starting 8th for the race is always going to be an issue, and we know Mercedes haven't got the best car this year, with everyone saying Red Bull's got the fastest car. But even last year when they did, they struggled to overtake. And I think, again, with it being a tight circuit, there's only one part really that you can overtake, which is the pit straight. So if you can't get it right there, you've got the whole lap when you're stuck behind the cars. So, yeah, it wasn't a great race for Bottas. And that's what happens when, say, you have a bad qualifying. You end up being in that pack with the likes of Russell or the people in and around that pack. And there can be incidents. So, yeah, ultimately, as much as whoever's to blame for the race incident, Bottas has to take the blame for the sense that, he messed up in qualifying.
Bottas, always going to be that Barrichello. Oh, well, Barrichello V2, as I like to call it, version 2. But it's the sad truth I feel for Bottas. And I think, luckily for him, he might not get much of a drubbing because Perez didn't get in the points today if Red Bull and Mercedes are going to be a top 2 for the Constructors' Championship this season. Before we look at the championship table, I did ask you all at home to let us know your driver of the day, and I've also asked Jack and Connor for their driver of the day. If you've just joined us, it was Lando Norris who was voted driver of the day from the fans on social media. Connor, let's start off with you. Who are you going for?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go for Lando as well. Just a great drive from 7th to finish on the podium. And, it was not just today's drive, it was the whole weekend as well. I know you're going to say, okay, his lap wasn't really valid because of, it was deleted because he went out of the track limits.
Oh,
but
so cruel.
It's cruel, but it was a clear demonstration, really, of, if Lando had just put his car just, a couple of inches inside of the track limits, then this would be a car that's, up there and at the top of the field. And he's been driving fantastically so far this season. He's got 3rd place now after I think he finished 4th in Bahrain. So it's a sign that McLaren are going to be up there at the top of the midfield for the majority of the season. And Lando Norris is showing he's a very good driver in Formula One. So yeah, Lando Norris for me today.
Jack, what are you going for?
I think it would be harsh not to give it to Lando Norris, so I probably would say him, but I also, as much as it probably hurts me to say, I think Lewis Hamilton, who looked like he was DNF, hitting his front wing into the wall, we were all going, oh, there could be something else happening here, and then he ends up reversing back onto the track, changing his front wing, and finishes 2nd with the fastest lap point as well. So, as much as Lando Norris did a great race throughout, annoyingly, you have to say that Lewis Hamilton did a spectacular job to get from where he started. I think he was 9th, wasn't he, after the incident? And then, to get to the place where he's 2nd on the podium with that fastest lap, which then gets him that 1 point ahead in the actual driver standings. You have to give him great credit to that. I'd say Lando Norris overall, but I'd say Lewis Hamilton was pretty close with his great drive to get P2.
Let me just read some of your comments. I think there was Let's have a look. Johan Rennes says driver of the day was Max, Lando, and Lewis in that order. Let's have a look. Mo Bar la says Perez is bad. Yep.
It gets worse from there, Jamie. He goes in on Perez.
Better not.
I've seen a few people say as well that Lance Stroll deserves a bit of credit for getting points in that Aston Martin. Finished 7th and got after improving from 10th. So a good drive from him today. Yeah.
This is an interesting one because we all thought it was going to be a DNF. Even the F1 production team even put out a graphic when he was in the off the track. That was Lewis Hamilton. Michael Edwin says Hamilton saved his car from DNF to second. So that's it. I presume that's his driver of the day. Johan Renner says appreciate the silence during the Dutch national anthem. You're very welcome. Can't really remember it very well. It's not as memorable as Germany and Italy when it comes to the national anthems. John Yaya says Schumacher, I'm with you. Keep it up. We'll be on top. Renhu. Feel like you're trying to do a Ronaldinho there. With Inu at the end. Says driver of the day, more than deserved for Norris. And I think that's it really in terms of people's nominations. I'm going to go with Kimi Räikkönen just because it's nice to see him in the points again. But no, I think Norris deserves to get it from the fans' vote. Anyway, just before we wrap up, this is the Drivers' Championship. Lewis Hamilton top by a single point. Max Verstappen second. Lando Norris third with 27 points. But let's not forget, there's only 2 races gone. But who knows? Lando Norris would certainly love to be in the top 3, top 5, I'd say, at the end of the season. Charles Leclerc 4th. Valtteri Bottas 5th, despite getting no points today. He remains at 16 points. Carlos Sainz 6th with his good run today. Daniel Ricciardo 7th. Sergio Perez 8th with just the 10 so far. I know, depressing. Lance Stroll 9th. Pierre Gasly 10th. And the rest of the points that I've got one, it's Kimi Räikkönen with his 2 today. Sonado 12th with 2 points. And Esteban Ocon with 1 point. And the rest of the driver standings is got no points. Or in Eurovision we call it nil point. Constructor standings, Mercedes top by only 7 points. Again, as we've mentioned, a missed opportunity for Red Bull with Perez not getting any points today. They're 7 points behind with 53. McLaren 41 points in third. Ferrari 4th with 34 points. Aston Martin with the 7 thanks to Lance Stroll today. AlphaTauri 6th with 6 points. Alfa Romeo 7th with the 2 points from Kimi Räikkönen today. And Alpine, I've got that 1 point because of Esteban Ocon. So there's your confirmation there, Connor, with your Alpine question before. And Williams and Haas have both got 0, which Williams was so close. 1 point would have been lovely, jubbly today. It would have been lovely. But no, not today. Anyway, I think that is it, lads. I think we're going to wrap it up there. Any final words from any of you?
Looking forward to going back to Portugal for the Portimao Grand Prix at the start of May. So yeah, it's going to be.
Yes, and you'll be with us for that one, won't you?
I should think so. Hopefully.
Check your diary. Check your diary.
Yes.
Of course, the restrictions are easing, so people are starting to actually have plans. It's really weird. Jack, any final words from you?
No, yeah, I think it's been it's been a fantastic actually to do a race watch along at Imola, and like we said during the live stream, we wonder what would happen if we had an incident where the race would be suspended, and the second race into our race watch along, that's something that happened. So it was great to actually be a part of the race watch along today, and obviously to do that for people watching. Fantastic. Thank you so much for everyone for subscribing and obviously watching. It's been a great people subscribing during the race watch along, which has been fantastic, and the comments as well. And a lot of people said they'd like to watch the next one at Portugal, so that's fantastic to see. It's great that people are watching the channel for Formula One. So yeah, let's hope that continues as we do the many races throughout the season. We're hoping to do all of them. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. And yeah, we're hoping to do all of the races, but like I said, I'm hoping to do some race reviews on my channel as well. So it's in the description. If you want to subscribe to that'd be fantastic as well. But yeah, everyone looking forward to Portugal in the next race. Let's hope it brings as much surprises as Imola did.
And of course, Jack has his theories on that channel, so you know he might just say that Michael Schumacher might come out of bed. Hopefully he does. Anyway, before we wrap up, I'll just quickly read the comments. Filippo says Forza Ferrari, great day for them. Who've we got? Muba La again. It's saying it's always like this with Red Bull. We have seen this from last 2 seasons. Hype in the beginning and then getting the boot at the end. Same will happen with Perez. I hope you're wrong. Omblo Randy saying kind of disappointed to Vettel, to be honest. Yeah, disappointing day. And Diego Martinez ends it with bad luck for Chico. Diego Martinez, it's not my colleague, is it? Hello, Diego, if it is. Hope you're well. Genius Sports. It might be a different Diego Martinez, but if it's the one that I'm thinking of, hello. And NHAPS15 says, I'm still with Seb all the way. Yes, of course, plenty of races to go for him to turn it around, that is for sure. Anyway, my thanks to Jack for the race watch along. My thanks to Connor for joining us on the race reaction at the end. And we'll be back for the next one in 2 weeks' time for the Portuguese Grand Prix. We'll definitely, of course, cover the race. Qualifying, as long as one of us is free, we'll let you know. And of course, do subscribe to the channel. We're at 795, so we're just 5 away from 800. So do subscribe and help us reach there. And then, of course, tonight we've got the Inter Miami versus LA Galaxy watch along at 8 o'clock. So do join us for that. Who will win the opening game of the MLS? We will see. Anyway, see you later, folks. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.